2004, race fans were treated to one of the closest finishes in NASCAR history at a track simply known as The Rock.
Side by side to the line, kicks it!
But soon after, racing at The Rock was gone. In its 39-year history, the gritty, one-mile oval nestled in the backwoods of North Carolina had held some of the most exciting races NASCAR had ever seen. Now, 4 years later, it's the ARCA Re Series returning to The Rock for one of the most anticipated stock car races of the year. 4 races down, 4 different winners, and one of the most competitive years this series has ever seen. It's history in the making. The Carolina 500, next on Speed.
Rockingham, North Carolina is again abuzz with race fans, and today Rockingham Speedway will test 50 drivers' stamina in the longest race of the season. Racing at The Rock is back. Welcome to Rockingham, North Carolina, and Rockingham Speedway for the inaugural Carolina 500 for the ARCA Re Series, race number 5 on the 2008 season. Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons. Phil, probably the most historic event that's taken place, I guess, in the ARCA Re Series in some 35 years.
It really is.
Back at the Rock.
Yeah, it's terrific to be back here. They raced here for 40 years, had some of the best racing in the history of NASCAR. All the big names raced here, and we've got a lot of big names out here. Tony Stewart made the trip over here. His crew chief, Greg Zipadelli. Ricky Rudd is here, going to make an honorary pace lap. The Allison brothers are here, Bobby and Donnie Allison, who had so many great races here at Rockingham. So terrific to be here, back here at Rockingham racing.
And everybody's eyes are watching this. I mean, obviously, NASCAR race last night. They're going to be watching this race as well.
They really are. And, you know, it's a great facility here. There's a bit of new coat of sealer on the racetrack, so it's black. Usually it's very, very light colored here, but it's the old Rockingham.
Now, what's it going to take to win here at Rockingham? You talk about the sealer on the racetrack.
Yeah, the sealer really doesn't make any difference. It's still the same surface. It's still abrasive like it always was. These guys have 6 sets of tires for 312 laps. That means 52 laps per set of tires, and they're going to be screaming for new tires in 15 or 20 laps, just like the old Rockingham. So tire management is how you're going to win this race.
Whoever manages the tires best will find out who will find victory lane. Let's look back a week ago. We were at Kansas in the Midwest, and it was a tough day to start off with for Scott Speed. The window net comes down early in this race.
Yeah, this year the ARCA Re Series has instituted the Aaron's Lucky Dog. So Scott Speed parlayed that Aaron's Lucky Dog after making repairs under green into victory lane for his first ever stock car run.
He was able to find victory lane for the first time, so the California native was celebrating in victory lane. We're going to find out if he's able to bring that momentum all the way here to Rockingham. He took the momentum and took himself from 9th in the points all the way up to 5th with that win. Matt Carter was able to leapfrog over Frank Kimmel and Justin Allgaier, both having troubles in Kansas. So our new points leader after 4 races is Matt Carter. But let's talk a little bit more about Scott Speed, and we'll hear from him. He's standing by with Jim Trado.
And guys, he ran at Daytona, he's running the high banks at Salem, and now has run and won at 1.5 miles at Kansas Speedway. In his stock car orientation, he comes now to Rockingham. He qualified not the greatest, but certainly has a great crew behind him. Today is another reason to learn in a quick way how to get around the Rock. What is the focus today to get up front and stay there, Scott?
I tell you, being smart and conservative. I mean, we definitely have a great race car. When it gets hot out, we didn't have a great one in qualifying, but I'm very confident that it's not going to take us long to get up there in the top 10. But once you're up there, I mean, to win this race is going to be the guy with the best set of tires underneath him at the end. And it's going to be a very long race with not so many sets of tires in the pits. So you got to be smart, and you got to try to conserve your tires.
You have the benefit of veteran crew chief Patrick Donahue. What has he told you about the patience needed here, even in the early laps?
I think the same as always. Patrick has like one line, focus, hit your marks. I mean, it's pretty much just only that.
Indeed, he'll be on top of the pit box. Patrick Donahue, the crew chief, was here in 1998 as a crew member when Jeff Gordon clinched the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. Now let's check in with Wendy Venerini.
Thanks, Jim. Not only is this a historic day for the ARCA Re Series, but this could possibly be an historic day for rookie Joey Logano, the 17-year-old Joe Gibbs Racing development driver, making your debut in the ARCA Series and doing it from the pole. Now, I know there's got to be a lot of pressure on you for 2 reasons. Number one, We know that Tony Stewart may be leaving Joe Gibbs Racing, and Joe Gibbs Racing may possibly be starting a fourth team. All eyes are on you. This is the day to showcase your talent.
Yeah, I think we got a really good car. You know, Venturi Motorsports has put a real good car underneath me, and just going to be stay out of trouble and save tires, and pitch strategy is going to be the name of the game tonight. So it's going to be really interesting.
All right, and we'll be watching Joey Logano, and on the pit box for him is Billy Venturini making the calls from pit road.
About 3 weeks away from his 18th birthday is Joey Logano, so our youngest driver in the field starting on the pole. Is that going to be a concern, Phil?
Not at all, but we've been hearing about Joey Logano since he was 15 years old. Mark Martin really discovered Joey Logano and said this kid can't miss,
Right.
and he's done nothing but impress people all the way through there. Obviously, Joe Gibbs, putting him on board with his racing development program. Another step in that development right here.
Obviously, a lot of eyes will be on Joey Logano today, but there's 49 other drivers, and we want to continue with our pre-race ceremonies. We'll go down trackside for today's invocation.
Rise and remove your hats for today's invocation and remain standing for our national anthem. The invocation will be delivered by ARCA chaplain Bill Crick. Bill.
Thank you. Would you bow your heads in prayer? Heavenly Father, what a great opportunity in Rockingham to come to rededicate this track today, the reopening. We appreciate Andy and all the hard work of all of his crew. We ask, Lord, your blessings on this track today and on our racers as they race, all of our teams, give them all safety. Lord, we appreciate the fans. We ask, Lord, your blessings and safety for them. Lord, we also want to say thank you for our military and our officers that make the safety we enjoy here in America. We appreciate all their blessings. Keep them all safe today. We honor you today with this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you this Nashville recording artist who has a brand new album on the shelves entitled We Weren't Crazy. He's here today courtesy of 93.1 FM The Wolf. Please join Josh Gratian for our singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Spectacular day for racing here in Rockingham, North Carolina.
A flyover by the United States Army AH-60 Black Hawk helicopters.
A partly cloudy day, but a beautiful weather for the return to racing at Rockingham, Phil.
Yeah, we used to come here in February and then came late in the year, and you never knew what you were going to hit. We've had this race snowed out before in the Cup Series, but what a great weekend here. And as we talked earlier, all eyes are upon Rockingham in racing today.
This racetrack opened back in 1965. The last race, we saw that earlier, Matt Kenseth just edging out a very close finish there at the end. And so he was the last one to win at this racetrack. Very famous racetrack.
Yeah,
Phil.
we saw so many of those close finishes. I remember Bill Elliott just nosing out Harry Gant here by just a few inches. And I remember Jeff Gordon being on the recipient of one of those big battles here.
Well, let's get this
And
battle
now,
underway.
race
Let's get
fans,
the engine
for the
started. Let's go for the command.
Motorsports. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the 1995 ARCA Series champion who brought racing back to the Rock, Andy Hillenberg.
Drivers, start your engines.
A lot of adrenaline and horsepower coming to life here at Rockingham. The Rock, the site for race number 5 in the ARCA Re Series. The Carolina 500 is next from Rockingham. Engines are fired. The cars have not yet rolled onto the racetrack. Let's take a look at our weather here in Rockingham, North Carolina. That was always the big question mark when you came to Rockingham. Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? What's going to happen?
Is it going to snow? Is it going to rain? And just perfect, as you can see, 75 degrees, just a few small clouds in the air, very little wind. What a terrific day for racing.
Beautiful day as the cars begin to roll on pit road, and they'll make it out onto the racetrack. Let's take a closer look at this racetrack. The Rock statistics for the Carolina 500 corners. Now, we went around the racetrack yesterday, and I thought the corners were banked probably more than any other mile, but Dover's probably a little bit more than this one.
Yeah, are very similar anyways. You can see turns 1 and 2 are banked 22 degrees. Now turns 3 and 4 are banked 25 degrees. These two ends of the racetrack are completely different here, so what works in one corner may not necessarily work in the other corner. So it's really, really tight exiting turn number 2, and you have some bumps down there so the cars can get really loose up off that corner. We've seen so many guys through the years lose the back end of those cars coming off turn 2.
Tough racetrack to handle here at Rockingham as the cars are making their way out of turn number 2 and onto the backstretch.
You see that black pavement right there? That's because of that sealer that's put on there. The racetrack used to look like the apron does here.
Very gray.
But it's just the same grip level, which is very little.
This one's the Carolina 500. That's 500 kilometers or 312 miles, 312 laps. The pit window around 85 to 95. That's going to be fuel. Can they go that far on tires, Phil?
They won't want to. You're going to hear about 50 guys squealing if they have to go that far on tires. They're going to want tires again about, in a perfect world, around 50 laps. But you know, if you run 30 laps and the caution comes out, you're going to have to put tires on then, and then you're going to have to adjust and run longer on the other sets, because if you don't put tires on at 30 and somebody else does, they'll drive by you like you're tied to a post.
As the field rolls around the racetrack, we'll take a look at our ARCA Re Series starting grid. It's going to roll across the top of your screen in the hat. Again, on the pole, Joey Logano taking the number 1 spot. Ricky Stenhouse getting the outside pole, and between the two of them, I think we got a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old in row 1.
Yeah, a lot of youth in this series. You look at the top 10 in points, and I think other than Frank Kimmel and Bobby Gerhardt, all very, very young drivers.
We'll ride along with a few different drivers today. One of those being Ken Schrader in that number 52. He's going to start in the 31st position today, and we're going to try to talk to him a little bit later during the race if possible.
We're also going to ride along with the number 11 car, Brian Silas. That's the Nortrek Shell Rotella T Ford, and that car is owned by our track owner, Andy Hillenberg. He's going to start in the 24th spot.
Rounding out the onboards, the 46 of Matt Carter will carry one of our cameras. He starts up toward the front in the 6th spot. So we'll see if he's able to get by some of those young guys in front of him.
And his dad has so much success in NASCAR, and he's actually here with Matt Travis, and he grew up in Ellerby, North Carolina, which is about 10 minutes from this racetrack.
And whenever we listen to him, he's always so inspirational when he's talking to Matt.
Yeah, we call him a dark cloud.
We're going to see the green flag from The Rock when we come back to Rockingham, North Carolina. Racing is about to begin once again here at The Rock. Welcome back to the Carolina 500 before the green flag flies. Let's go down for final thoughts with Jim Trado.
Well, guys, as part of the build-up here, Andy Hillenberg, the track owner, also owns a driving school. They pro'd a car together, and they asked Ricky Rudd to drive it. In the field for at least this one more lap is a young man from West Palm Beach, Florida, Harold Champion, riding along with Ricky Rudd in car number 51, the 51st driver, and the proceeds from the auction went to United Way. What a great way to start back here at The Rock. Let's check in with Wendy.
Phil Parsons has mentioned tire management. Well, that's the talk in the garage area. When I asked Bobby Gerhardt, he said cords were showing on some of these tires in 35 laps. Here in the 25 pit of Joey Logano yesterday in happy hour, they ran more consistent lap times and a longer lap time than anyone else to see how that tire management was going to be today.
Let's hope no one spins the tires. Green flag in the air. Yes, that's Tony Stewart giving him the green here at the Rock. He needs to stick to racing.
He's taken a lot of green flags. He probably hasn't waved that many.
Hasn't given a lot. Joey Logano with a great start. Jumped out quick. Again, driving that number 25 Chevrolet out of the Venerini Motorsports stable.
We're going to see most of these drivers want to be on the bottom of the racetrack early on, but then they're going to be moving all over this racetrack.
Ricky Stenhouse in the 99. Dropped back to third.
It's the green and white car. That's the Stein C car of Matt Carter on the outside of the 19 of Jack Bailey.
Matt Carter's our points series leader through 4 races of this season. Michael Annett right there behind Stenhouse in the number 28. Jack Bailey in the 19th. We're riding along with Matt Carter now.
It's Michael Annett right in front of him. Michael won this year at Daytona.
Now, early on, is it an invincible feeling when you've got fresh tires on a racetrack like this?
Well, there's nothing better than having new tires at a place like this, but that feeling goes away pretty quick. Right now, these guys have only run 2 laps, and they're already saying, well, I didn't have quite this much, you know, I was able to use more throttle in this the last time I came off this corner.
There's a battle for the 4th spot. Michael Annett on the outside of Jack Bailey in the 19. Again, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 99. He's currently in the 3rd spot. 2 other cars just in front of him.
Jack Bailey making an early move. He gets by the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse. Going to bring the pilot Toyota Michael Annett with him.
And right behind Ricky Stenhouse, that's 16 of Justin Allgaier. Joey Logano, we talked with Bill Venerini and Billy Venerini of Venerini Motorsports earlier. They were praising Joey Logano on how good he was at taking instruction as far as don't go out there and run 100% on every lap. Let's go about 80% to start off. Let's conserve those tires.
Yeah, you will not have any tires left on this car if you went out there and ran it absolutely as hard as you can every single lap. And that's something great for a young driver to learn is tire management. So many of the new racetracks like Kansas that we were last week have such good grip. They don't have that feeling of tires falling off, but you certainly get it here at Rockingham. You hear him pedaling that throttle. That's Matt Carter right there pedaling that throttle. That's the 18 of Billy Leslie right in front of Matt.
Yeah, Justin Lofton's running second. The hat was just showing a different number there, but it is Joey Logano that's leading. Lofton's running second. Third is Michael Annett. And I believe Jack Bailey is battling for that position, so those two could be swapping right now.
I think Jack Bailey was able to get by that 28 car of Michael Annett to take over the 3rd spot. Our leader left of your screen already lapping cars. There was a big disparity in speeds from 1st to 50th in this field. Joey Logano was very, very good qualifying. Pulls out to a pretty substantial, almost a 2.5 lead right now over Justin Lofton.
A very big field here at the Rock as well. Starting 50 cars. They had an interesting qualifying session. Everyone went at the first session, and then that locked in the top 25 starting positions. Everyone from 26 back could have re-qualified if they wanted to try to improve their positions up to 26, but only 8 cars tried to do that to improve their positions.
Yeah, and we were trying to determine when the last time that we had 2 rounds of qualifying. The best we could determine it was back in the late 90s. That's something that NASCAR and the ARCA Re Mex Series both went away from, just went to a 1 qualifying session. So it was a nice, interesting twist here at Rockingham.
Justin Lofton trying to reel in that 25 of Joey Logano. Joey Logano's running pretty strong out there, isn't he, Wendy?
Yeah, he sure is. He's been pretty quiet on the radio so far, but before the race, I asked him, are you worried about this long race, a 500K, your debut in ARCA? And he said, what I'm most worried about is the difference in speeds, just like you were talking about up there in the booth. He was worried about how fast they were going to start lapping cars, and the fact that he was going to have to be careful with a lot of lap traffic early on. He doesn't have any experience in the ARCA series, and he's just trying to learn as he goes. Joey Logano playing it smart so far.
And a problem on the backstretch. Cars sliding across the backstretch and the field beginning to catch up to them. And so as they continue to slide right in the middle of the backstretch, I saw Patrick Sheltra looked as though he was running well. We've got Michael Annett, Jack Bailey in there. Those two cars were running up in the top 3.
Scott Speed just came along there, and the smoke could not see and hit Jack Bailey. Right there, that's the 2 right there.
There is Scott Speed.
That was 100% your fault. He told you to stop, but you ran right into him.
That was Slugger Labby.
Sluggers.
Kind of his coach and mentor a little bit, and there was so much smoke over there.
Yeah.
We saw from one of those camera views that you absolutely couldn't see anything, and there's a lot of banking on that straightaway, so it's self-cleaning. There's Justin Lofton right there. What a great run he had going. He was running second. See all the damage he has.
A lot of damage. You can't even see out of the windshield of that car right now as he's on pit road.
Second, third, and fourth place cars were all involved within that. Justin Lofton and the 19 of Jack Bailey and the 28 of Michael Annett.
And again, we'll try to get another look at it. But Phil, this is really a product of these cars catching up to the slower lap traffic and getting into traffic, because again, they were running 2, 3, and 4 in this group, but they weren't running next to each other. So obviously they were involved in a problem with some of the slower lap traffic. Jim Trado.
Guys, Scott Speed brought the car down. His crew chief, Patrick Donahue, was trying to assess the damage on top of the pit box. ARCA rules say you have to have a fire suit on to get over the wall, so he wants the car behind the wall, as he's not in a fire suit, to take a look at it. Heavy right front damage and right rear damage again on the Red Bull Toyota early on here. A lot of damage. They're trying to assess it now. They've already started to grab the tools. They've got an extensive amount of spare parts back here in the pit, so Speed has some work ahead of him, and they'll probably take it behind the wall.
Yeah, a lot of work that will need to be done to the right front of that car. Let's take another look at what happened here.
I think that was Joey Logano just going by. There's the 7 car, A.J. Hendrickson. He gets sideways. There's
and
James
it didn't look
Hilton.
like there was anybody around him.
No, there really wasn't. Now look at the smoke there. These guys can absolutely see nothing. They're driving blind. You see Patrick Shelter locking the brakes up. There's a 0.5 hitting the inside wall. And watch these guys right here now. Absolutely can see nothing. That's Scott Speed right up in there. Just went into the smoke. And when he comes out the other end, he will make some contact, I believe, with the 19 of Jack Bailey.
I think you're right. And so Scott Speed involved in this one.
There's another. There's Jack Bailey, the black number 19. See, that's Ricky Stenhouse just easing by on the outside. Here comes Matt Carter. He's going to go between the 19 and the 28. And Scott Speed is also going to try to get through there, but he is not going to make it. Right there, pretty hard contact. Scott Speed into the 19 of Jack Bailey.
He was following some of those other cars. Couldn't see Jack Bailey turn sideways. And so that put him into the side of the 19 and a lot of damage to the right front of that number 2 Toyota. Again, out in front of the field, Joey Logano. And amazing how the number 7 of A.J. Hendrickson, it looked like just broke free coming out of turn number 2 and got sideways.
We talked about turn 2 being the trouble spot. Very, very tight exit. There's some bumps down there in the bottom. You get that rear end, the hopping. He got sideways, and then just, you know, when one car makes contact, and it blocked everything off, Wendy.
Michael Annett, who started this race 4th, is now hitting pit road. He was involved in that accident. Now he does have damage on the left front fender. They're going to change tires. They will come around that left side and pull that left front fender. They're going to add some bear bond, lift the hood, and probably knock that fender out a little bit more. Unfortunate for Michael Annett. This car has gone through a lot, guys. This is the same car. Now the jack has fallen. The jack has fallen. And the car, the jack is actually on the driver's side door. The team is going to try and lift it up. A little bit of a problem here for Michael Annett. Phil, we talked about this is the same car that was in Iowa during practice session that basically burnt to the ground. They took it back to the shop, built it from the ground up, brought it here to Rockingham. But unfortunate start to the day for Michael Annett.
Yeah, Wendy, as you mentioned,
up to the hood.
They also had some trouble with an engine. They had a persistent miss that they couldn't find out, so they actually changed engines right before qualifying. So a tough start to this day.
They need to get out in front of the pace car is their problem. They don't want to get stuck on pit road behind the pace car, and right now it's very close. The lucky dog, the Aaron's lucky dogs, goes to Daryl Basham, as we see some of the slower lap down cars and some of the cars that were involved in this most recent accident making their way onto pit road as well, following Daryl Basham out there. So our first caution of the day has come out at the Rockingham Speedway, the site of the Carolina 500. Joey Logano continues to lead after 14 laps. Again, we're under our first caution of the day. It happened just after lap 10, and it actually had quite a few cars involved in it, and probably the 3 predominant cars that you're going to look at are ones that were running up in the top of this field. It was Scott Speed that was involved, Justin Lofton, also Michael Annett in the 28 was involved in it as well. Those 3 cars were running 1, 2, and 3. Then you see, or 2, 3, and 4, and you see the other cars involved in this, and just a difficult situation on the backstretch.
Yeah, Justin Marks also had a little bit of damage. He's just now coming off pit road after numerous stops.
A lot of damage, though, on this number 2. The 20 down there as well. Lofton. Let's go down and talk with Jim Trado.
Well, guys, Scott Speed has gone in the hauler for a moment. They're tearing off the right front, whatever they can get to, because the lower control arm and all the bolt-downs are what they're most concerned about. They are going to change the upper as well. You can see the upper A-frame is bent back and up as well. Crew Chief Patrick Donahue has been calling out calmly orders, but what we need to get done to get this car back out. They're trying to get the right front fixed, and again, climbing in the top 5 in points, and this being the 5th of 21 races. Every lap will count here today at the Rock.
They want to get that car back out there again. One of the Eddie Sharp Racing cars in the field today. His teammate Ken Butler III came onto pit road right after Scott Speed was on pit road. Don't know if there was any damage to that car or not, or if they were just making a quick stop.
It looked like Ken had a bit of damage. It didn't look to be too severe, but obviously the Scott Speed Justin Laughlin had a considerable amount of damage.
Take another look at what took place. Again, coming out of turn number 2, the yellow 7 car of A.J. Hendrickson right there starts spinning, and it doesn't look like anybody's around him, and then other cars did the same.
It looked like Justin Laughlin got in the back of the 48 of James Hilton, and then that's what created the smoke when James Hilton got turned around, and that's what blocked the racetrack. See, there's Patrick Shelter with all the damage he has to his Chevrolet. But it looked like Justin Laughlin came off that corner. James Hilton jumped out of the throttle, just didn't quite have enough warning, ran in the back of him. And that's what happens so often here. It's the aftermath. You know, they may have been able to miss A.J. Hendrickson, but then when Justin Laughlin ran in the back of James Hilton, then that created the aftermath of that incident.
The ripple effect of what took place up in front went all the way back, almost through the entire field. The lucky one that wasn't involved was Joey Logano. He was in front of it all, so he did not have any problems. But a lot of other drivers working on the bodywork of their cars. We'll be back with more of the Carolina 500 after this. Welcome back. Green flag just coming out here at the Rock. They spread out coming out of 4. A slow car working his way across the start finish line just now, and a lot of cars had to spread out to avoid that.
The 18 of Billy Leslie has moved up into the 2nd position. That's him right there behind our leader, Joey Logano. Matt Carter looks to the inside of Ricky Stenhouse. That is a battle for 3rd.
Carter looking to the inside of that 99 now, again for 3rd position. First 2 have checked out as they're entering turn 1 now. Looks like Ricky Stenhouse getting back up to speed, working his way through 1 and 2.
Jesse Smith in that 30 car has moved up into the 5th position.
Oh, smoke coming out of the 57. And that will bring out our second caution.
Some hammers ready. Let's get some hammers ready.
Brent
Get that
Sherman
right
right
side
there. Brent actually ran the Indy Light race last week at Kansas, finished in the 8th position, and then tested an Indy car on Monday at Kansas Speedway. But quite a bit of right front damage for Brent right here, and right rear.
Smoke rolling out from the right side of that car. Obviously, the right front is blown. And the bodywork getting torn up as he works his way around this racetrack, trying to get back onto pit road. That accident, I'm sure, a product of what took place the first time around when we went under caution.
So we can take a look. Look at the top of your screen. You see the smoke there trailing behind Brent Sherman.
So a lot of debris being spread around the Rock right now.
Right rear is not on the tire. Getting ready to come around the bend. No, it's right front, all right front.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. There you go. Get it in here.
Yep, Brent Sherman's
Gotta give me
bringing it in. They're going to try to figure out what they can do to that car now. Again, the right front tire blowing out. doing a lot of damage to the front of that vehicle. So again, not one complete lap of racing since we went back to green after our first caution. Lucky dog goes to Michael Annett in the number 28. A big gift for that team, as Michael Annett will now get back on the lead lap or working closer to the lead lap.
Yeah, Michael was obviously one of our top 4 cars prior to that first incident coming off for turn number 2. Wendy, what's going on down there in Brent Sherman's pit?
Well, Brent Sherman's making his first start of 2008. Started 26th, off to an unfortunate beginning for Brent Sherman. Now, I noticed the right front fender had a lot of damage on it. They were trying to get that fender pushed down. Now the right front tire that came off of it is completely shredded, so I didn't know what you guys saw on those replays, but some heavy damage to the tire and the wheel that came off of Brent Sherman's car. Jim?
Wendy, on my end of pit road, we had the 01 car coming in many times, as we talked about, Justin Marks, and also Patrick Shelter, who's climbed to 4th in the point standings. In this in-house built chassis, they had a very strong run in qualifying, but unfortunately he's been caught up in this. I believe he's been on pit road no less than 5 times. The biggest concern, damage on the left rear of his number 60 Chevrolet. The fuel inlet is dropped within the bodywork. They need to obviously pop that out to fuel the car. So that's what they've been working on, and just left pit road now, trying to get more bare bond and more big chunks of tape to get that opened up to repair the fender, as well as try to get the fuel opening back functioning.
So a lot of work being done on.
Hey, we're just going to be smart in this traffic back here, Patrick, because, man, you got fast cars and slow cars. The slow cars are pushing all over the track, so we're going to have to be careful or run up on one of them real quick.
Words of wisdom there.
Awfully good advice right there. Had a few cars make their way down pit road on this caution flag. The 01 of Justin Marks was back in. Patrick Sheltra, the 19 of Jack Bailey, and the 11 of Brian Silas have all been on pit road.
Feel very, very early in this race, too, as we see a lot of cars with damage already on them. We want to take another look at what brought out our second caution. This is the restart. You see some of the debris on the racetrack as the cars all spread out 2 and 3 wide coming across the start-finish line.
Getting ready for a restart.
And Joey Logano has been out in front since the initial drop of the green flag.
Be heads up. There's some real tore up race cars out there. Be heads up for any debris that's flying around.
Debris comment. We're hearing going to a lot of the drivers. Heads up. Again, 312 laps is the scheduled distance. We're just about to start lap 29 as we complete 28. Green flag back in the air.
All clear.
As Patrick Shelter's spotter told him, there's a lot of fast cars at the back as well as slower cars, so really have to be heads up in traffic here at Rockingham.
Good run there for Matt Carter, taking 3rd away from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. It seems as though Ricky Stenhouse he gets up to speed a little bit slower than the rest of these guys, but once he's there, he runs a very consistent line and good lap times.
He really does. He was second last week at Kansas City for his best career finish, but Matt Carter has been extremely good here from the test early on a few weeks ago. Very good in practice. He's going to be somebody to contend with, I believe. There's Matt Carter right there in the Stein Seed Ford. You know, remember, this is the car that Frank Kimball drove to 9 ARCA Remax championships.
You mentioned testing. Scott Speed was fastest in that test session that they had a couple weeks back. Michael Annett was 2nd. Justin Marks was 3rd. Justin Allgaier 4th. And Joey Logano was actually the 5th quickest car in the test session, but it was so much cooler when they were here for that test.
Yeah, it really was. I talked to a lot of the crew chiefs in the garage area, and they said they had to completely change their setups from that test a few weeks ago with that cooler weather, because obviously this racetrack right here is very sensitive to temperature.
Battle for the 7th spot.
That's the 4 of Taylor Malsom, our winner earlier this year. that 39 car right there.
Matt Hawkins.
Matt Hawkins did such a nice job to win that race at Iowa a couple weeks ago.
He's able to take the position away from Taylor Malsom. So 39 moving up toward the front. He started this race in 23rd position and has already broken into the top 6 now as he holds that position.
Matt's one of the join the list with guys that have won in this series in their very first ARCA Re start. Something Joey Logano is trying to do today.
Yeah, try to match that feat here at a very difficult racetrack, Rockingham Speedway.
There's Kenny Schrader. We're right on board with Kenny. The 4 Winds Motorhomes Dodge of Kenny Schrader trying to get by that 4 car of Taylor Malsom. That's a battle for the 7th position. Kenny's made a nice start here. Started way back in the 31st position.
Still there.
Kenny able to make that pass on Taylor Malsom to take over the 7th spot. Now this is a guy, we talk about nobody being here in the last 4 years. We talk about very few of these drivers having any experience at all at this racetrack. And that's a guy that has thousands of laps here at this racetrack.
You know what? I was making a comment earlier today. I said, you know, there's a lot of kids that are in this field that weren't even born the last time the ARCA Re Series ran here.
Yeah, exactly. That's 1973. So that's a full 35 years ago.
35 years ago. And when we talk about young guys, one of the young guys that we wanted to keep our eye on has been Austin Dillon. Take a look at this, Phil.
Looks like he must have a broken hub or something. I don't know what's wrong with that. That is really strange looking.
Looks like a spinner.
It does. And it's not supposed to.
Yeah. they don't have that.
What a promising career that young man's going to have. Just turned 18 a week or so ago. Austin Dillon, he won his Camping World East debut at Greenville a few weeks ago.
Grandson to Richard Childress.
Joey Logano able to get by Justin Marks. We saw the damage on that 0-1 car. He was involved in that incident off of turn number 2. He had one of the very best cars yesterday, so obviously that car crippled right now.
Joey Logano has led every lap here at the Rock since the green flag flew. Looking to make it his first ever win in the ARCA Re Series in his first start. We'll find out if he'll be able to do it. Go back.
Well, I am excited to see something on the track. I've always loved Rockingham. It's such a great racetrack to race on because you can run on the bottom for a little bit, middle, 3 lanes up against the wall throughout the whole race. To me, it's just a great racetrack.
That is one of the coolest racetracks that there is in existence, and it's a shame that we don't race there anymore.
Got to drive for Bill Davis, there in my first test, and went there and loved it then, and always have. So it's a shame we're not racing there anymore, but I think it's great that a series like ARCA is going back there.
Racing at the Rock is back, and we heard from some of the stars in the Sprint Cup Series. What an amazing racetrack this is. And these kids and veterans are able to enjoy it here in the ARCA Re Series.
There's our leader right there, Joey Logano. Just while we were away at break, he had a bit of a close call. Watch him. That's the 22 of Ken Butler that all of a sudden just felt like he had something going wrong, and Joey Logano had to take evasive action. Did a nice job turning hard left to avoid that. There's another view of it right there. Joey Logano is one of the guys that's awfully glad that there's racing back at the Rock.
Oh, yes. Joey Logano again was here for testing earlier, making his inaugural start in the ARCA Re Series today. Ken Butler III was the car that was just in front of Joey Logano, and it looked as though he was trying to make the hard left turn and get onto pit road, but then a couple of cars were going by him. Jim Trenum.
Hey guys, I'm down here with the 22 car. This is the reason why he came down pit road. Fender damage on the left front top of the left front bead on the 22 of Ken Butler's car. So when he came down pit road, it was all the way off the bead, but they had front end damage from that first caution. They cut the left front tire. That's why he slowed in front of our leaders.
A lot of front end damage to that 22. Again, that's team car to the 2.
Oh, trouble over.
Speed. Problems in turn 3 up against the wall, a car. The 35, and The reaction to that is another one spins behind him.
I believe that was right in front of Joey Logano as well when the 35 of Ricky Sanders got up. And there's Gabby DiCarlo, the Great Clips Chevrolet. She came along and spun after that.
So Gabby DiCarlo trying to slow down, got turned around just a bit. Doesn't look like any damage to the car, though. I'm sure she'll have to come in and get a fresh set of tires, but we're about at that lap time when we would expect the whole field to come down to get tires.
Yeah, I think we're going to see everybody that hasn't stopped yet for sure to come down pit road and get tires. There's a lot of damage to Ricky Sanders' car right there. He may have put something down on the racetrack, and that may have been what happened to Gabby. She may have gotten some fluid or something from Ricky Sanders' car. That's what turned her around. But I believe this happened right in front of our leader, Joey Logano. So another anxious moment for him, certainly.
Yeah, he is. He's going to have to avoid quite a few things today if he wants to find victory lane here at Rockingham Speedway. Again, the 35 of Ricky Sanders gets turned around, spun in turn number 3, actually hitting the wall up in turn 3. And so you see all the right side damage to that race car.
Looks like they're going to take that car behind the wall. This will bring everybody to pit road. We've completed 49 laps, so this is right on schedule. If you can run about 50 laps on a set of tires,
if you could schedule it,
this is the one. This is the one you would want, exactly.
Being on schedule. Take another look at why we are under our 3rd caution of the day.
See, right in front of our leader, Joey Logano, the 25, Joey Logano, right behind Ricky Sanders. Another anxious moment for Joey Logano.
And all of the drivers, I think.
There's another view of it. That's after Ricky has already made contact with a wall. Gabby DiCarlo came in here just a few moments later and also spun. We have our leader on pit road.
Here comes Joey Logano. Let's go down to Jim Trado.
Guys, the call from Billy Leslie's team in the number 18 Titan tire car was 4 tires, no changes. They've been monitoring their pace. They like what they have. They're going to do fresh rubber, fresh Hoosier radial tires. Next to them as they come down pit road, just in front of them is the 46 of the Stein Steed Ford. Hard on the binders, actually clipping a crewman as he comes through. It's Matt Carter. Carter's got heavy left side damage from the earlier incident, but you know he's running top 3. The call here is also 4 tires and a small adjustment. We see 1.5 rounds out of the right rear to get that car freed up just a little bit. Both cans of fuel going in on Matt Carter's number 46 Ford, and the leaders now on pit road as well. They're going to make a drastic change on some of these cars, but none in the story of Leslie. Leslie again, no changes. 46 a bit delayed, but down and away. Wendy.
Has just pulled away from his pits. 4 tire stop, a slight air pressure adjustment. He was a little tight from the center off, a close call because the tire almost slipped away into the next pit stall. They caught it, so no penalty from them. Pitting this crew today, pitting for Joey Logano today is Denny Hamlin's Cup crew, who came over from Richmond along with the 20 Nationwide Series crew for the Joe Gibbs Racing. But a close call twice already for Joey Logano, and his spotter Joey Savali has been working with him for 4 years. So Joey Logano is very comfortable with his spotter Joey Savali.
And amazingly enough, Joey Logano comes out first. He had the first pit stall, but coming out second was the 18 of Billy Leslie, and amazingly enough, his tire carrier got hit by the 46 of Matt Carter, and it completely flipped him over, and he was still able to get back up, put that tire on the car, and they were able to come out second after that pit stop. Unbelievable, I guess, endurance by that kid to be able to get back up and do that.
Ricky Stenhouse actually beat Joey Logano off of pit road. So great call by lumping his guys to get that car out first.
So the 99 was able to get out in front of the 25. That's the first time anyone has been in front of the 25 today on this racetrack.
Now, he may not be the leader because right now Michael Annett is still on the racetrack, and he may have had to use one of his sets of tires after that incident he was involved in. So he may feel as though he cannot afford to put his second set of tires from the pits on right now. So Ricky Stenhouse won the battle off pit road, but he may not necessarily be leading when we restart this race.
And Michael Annett was the benefactor of the Aaron's lucky dog early on because he got a lap down after being involved in that first accident. So now Michael Annett, maybe the benefactor of that lucky dog, could take him up to the front.
We saw what happened last week at Kansas with Scott Speed. He got a lap down because of the window net thing. He ended up getting the Aaron's lucky dog, came back to win that race. Justin Allgaier has also stayed on the racetrack. He's now running in the second spot. Ricky Stenhouse is the first car that came down pit road, and he runs third right now.
Then it's Joey Logano in fourth and Billy Leslie rounding out our top 5. Matt Carter followed him off of pit road and is scored in 6th. Then it's Ken Schrader and 9-time series champion Frank Kimmel, 7th and 8th. 9th is the 09, the young John West Townley. And rounding out our top 10, the 39 of Matt Hawkins.
There's a view from Matt Carter's Stein seat on board. I was talking to Larry Clement, who owns this car and owned it for all those championships driven by Frank Kimmel, and he was telling me that the Stein Seat Company was just named the #1 innovator in food, beverage, and tobacco patents.
Wow.
In the world.
That's impressive.
Sure is.
Again, it's our 4th caution of the day. Staying out on the racetrack, Michael Annett captures the top spot, so he's leading laps at the Rock. The strong car has been Joey Logano. We'll see if he can get back up front. Riding along on the 46 with Matt Carter, currently in the 6th spot. Looking out over the Mallory ignition box. Take a look at our Aaron's Lucky Dog recipient as he comes back out onto the racetrack.
Okay, I said, got tires in 55. One to go next time. One to go next time.
Mike Harmon, the benefactor there.
Let's see if we can establish some communication with Joey Logano. Hey, Joey Logano, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You have a copy? Joey, early on, that car has looked awfully good. Now, you're going to have a couple cars that have older tires than you, and then the one Ricky Stenhouse that has the same tires as you. But any problems so far?
No problems. Venture Motorsports car is pretty good right now. They're pretty good there on the long haul, so I'm stay out of trouble here, get through these cars with no tires, and get back out front and cruise around a little bit.
Had a couple of close calls. That this most recent incident happened right in front of you, as well as you having to dodge that 22 car, Ken Butler.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of lap cars out here, but you just gotta dodge them, get around them. Not too many of them know where they're going. So.
All right, got 1 to go. Get ready for this restart. Good luck, Joey.
F4, thanks, guys.
So Joe Logano relinquishing the lead after Michael Annett stayed out on the racetrack.
But remember, Michael Annett is going to have probably 25 green flag laps more on his tires, 20 to 25, than does Joey Logano. So he will not put up much of a fight here, I don't think, on this restart.
Justin Allgaier also staying on the racetrack, and he is just in front of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the number 99, and Ricky's just in front of Joey Logano. So we've seen Ricky Stenhouse take maybe a lap or two to get up and almost comfortable with his race car before he is very competitive. We'll see how the restart goes here for Michael Annett as he brings the field out of turn number 4. All eyes on the green flag back in the air.
Joey's going to jump right to the outside of Ricky Stenhouse. As you mentioned, it takes a little bit of time, it seems, for Ricky Stenhouse to get going. And Joey Logano said, I'm not waiting.
Billy Leslie wasn't going to do it either. He is following Joey Logano around the racetrack now.
And watch these cars drive by, these cars with older tires, Rick. It's going to be amazing. You see Matt Carter also gets by Ricky Stenhouse.
Logano staying on that high line as Billy Leslie stays in the middle of the racetrack as they both work their way by Michael Annett. So they're taking away that 2nd spot from Annett. Joey Logano out in front. Billy Leslie runs 2nd.
And there's absolutely nothing that Michael Annett can do. All he has to do is run his own race. He has to race this racetrack. Don't worry about Joey Logano and Billy Leslie and Matt Carter, who's also going to pass him, and everybody else that has fresh tires. You just have to run your race, try to get the caution when you need it, and get back on the same cycle with these guys. Really impressed by Billy Leslie this early on. Really impressed.
And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. back up to speed now. Let's go down to Jim Trado.
And guys, the update on Ricky Stenhouse and his Jeff Campy-led crew is that they did not take tires. They went 3 rounds up on the rear track bar to get a little more freed up in the center of the corner, but did not take tires. They had a long discussion on under caution, and the decision was made. And as the discussion went on about staying out and letting the guys go with the fresher tires to run the race, as you just mentioned, Phil Parsons, one thing Jeff Campy said, man, this is a long race. When I climbed up the box and asked him, He said, we only have 32 laps of green flag on our tires. We're going to have tires when it counts at the end.
And that could be extremely critical, Jim, for them to have a set of tires. If you have a caution in this race with 20 or 25 laps to go, and you have a set of tires and nobody else does, it's going to be a arrivederci.
Around lap 280. And caution comes out once again. This is the fourth one. It seems like we've got some debris on the racetrack. The Great Clips, the back of the Great Clips car is actually sitting just in front of the start-finish line. So Joey Logano is broken back up to the front of the field. Right behind him, Billy Leslie. There's that debris that we were talking about bringing out this fourth caution. Fresh tires are critical at Rockingham Speedway, and that's exactly what Joey Logano is riding on right now. Some fresh tires as he rides his way right back up to the front once again from the Rock. And welcome back to Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. The Carolina 500K continuing for the ARCA Re Series, the 5th race of the season. Our Aaron's lucky dog from this most recent caution, the 23 of Donnie Kelly, making his way back out onto the racetrack. He will grab one of those laps back, and that puts him in the 23rd spot. He is obviously the end of the lead lap cars, so there are 23 on the lead lap. Again,
truck down low in the backstretch, cleaning up that debris.
Started 50 cars today at the Rock, and a guy who's envious of probably all 50 drivers, David Reagan from Roush Fenway, joining us up here in the booth. David, thanks for joining us. Now, I asked you actually in commercial break, had you ever been to this racetrack to test, and you have never been on this racetrack before competitively.
No, I would love to be out here today making some laps. Looks like these guys are having a lot of fun. I came here once with my dad several years ago and watched what then was a Busch race. Yep. And you know, always had a lot of good memories watching these races on TV. But looks like these guys are having a lot of fun. The track looks great, and I'm glad to be here.
Now, do you remember what year that was you came here? Because Phil, you were probably driving in that race.
More than likely I was. I raced against David's dad a lot of times.
I think it was 98 or 99. I was just you know, 12 or 13 years old, just getting into racing.
Yeah. I was here. I was and racing those races. But now it's not that David hasn't raced this weekend. He raced Friday night in Richmond as well as last night in Richmond. How'd your weekend go?
It was a good weekend. You know, we finished 4th in our nationwide car. Discount Tire car was really, really fast. I think probably one of our best shots at winning a race this year. And then Saturday night, it was kind of an up and down night. 400 laps at Richmond was a long race in our shoes, but we ended up 17th. We picked up a spot in points. So, you know, it's a good feeling when you can kind of struggle and still get that top 20. So our team has definitely made some improvement from this time of year.
Do you feel like that's a maturing of you as a race car driver? I mean, even when you don't have a great car, you're still able to get good performances?
Yeah, a year ago this time, if we were to finish 17th, I would have sat back and said, man, that was a pretty good run for us. But now we finished 17th, and we're a little disappointed because I feel like we could have been in the top 10 or could have been in the top 12. But Jimmy Finnegan and our AAA pit crew did a great job really working on our car throughout the night, and you know, got through last night, and here we are at Rockingham today enjoying some ARCA racing.
Riding along now with Ken Schrader. He's broken into the top 5. He runs in the 5th spot just behind Matt Carter.
We were talking, David, about how few drivers have any experience in here at this racetrack, and Kenny Schrader's got thousands and thousands of laps here.
Yeah, let's watch Kenny on this restart. We might learn something from him.
Schrader able to run a little bit higher on the racetrack on that restart.
And just a handful of green flag laps on this set of tires for most of these drivers out here. And he was one of the drivers that put fresh tires on the caution flag before this last one.
Matt Carter also giving us a ride around the Rock. Just in front of Schrader. He's going to run a little higher line as well as he tries to get by Michael Annette, that number 28.
What I'm really impressed with the 18 of Billy Leslie. He's doing a great job. You know, he's really sticking in with the 25 of Logano there. He's looking good so far in the early parts of today's race.
Obviously, Billy's never raced here, but his dad that's here with him, Tracy, raced here a number of times back in the old Busch series. So Tracy has a lot of knowledge about this racetrack.
Frank Kimmel also working his way up into the top 10. Battling with Ken Schrader for that 5th spot.
Good news out of that camp. We're going to have a sponsor on that car next week. It's going to be the Ford Drive 1 sponsorship car. They're still looking for a major sponsor, but Ford's going to come along with a little bit of help. Bill and Frank Kimmel both said they were so appreciative of what Ford does for them, and that will enable them to go to Kentucky next week for the next race on this schedule.
Matt Carter able to get by that 28 of Michael Annett. Again, Michael Annett didn't change tires, didn't come in when pretty much the entire field came down pit road. Justin Allgaier also stayed out the same pit cycle as Michael Annett is on.
Ricky Stenhouse did come down pit road for fuel and an adjustment, but no tires for Ricky Stenhouse. Lumpy's trying to save him a set.
Saving tires. Again, they came with 5 sets in the pits, and they had the 1 set on the car. Wendy, what's going on?
Yeah, as you were mentioning about Michael Annett, he is on a different pit strategy than everyone else because of that early caution, one of the first cautions we had here at Rockingham. Lap 13, they came in, and that's when they got their tires. So that's how long Michael Annett has had his tires on, but they did come back down pit road at lap 26 and do a track bar adjustment and some more fuel to that car as well. So we're a little bit off on our tires on the 28.
And I'm sure his crew chief is telling him, you know, if you can just hang out and ride a little bit for the next 100 laps or 150 laps, we'll be good to go toward the end with some fresh sets of tires, just like the 99. You know, Ricky Stenhouse, I'm sure he's thinking the same thing. You know, if we can just hang out for now, toward the end of the race, we'll have some fresh tires.
Kid in the candy store. I mean, at the end of the race, the problem is, can you just hang out at Rockingham? And is that one of the most difficult things to do?
Ooh, a little contact. Kenny Schrader got in the back of Michael Annett, got Michael sideways. Right in the middle of the straightaway. Kenny's going to try to take over that 4th position. Here's Frank Kimmel. He's also going to get by Michael Annett because Michael Annett, as we've talked about, doesn't have the fresh tires. Kenny and Frank, I think, do. So we'll see the pass here momentarily. Frank's going to get by him to move up into the top 5.
Matter of time for Frank Kimmel. Get by Michael Annett.
David, you've run Darlington. Now, obviously, Darlington next week is going to be a whole new racetrack with a new pavement. But this racetrack probably most closely resembles the old Darlington, but same kind of deal. Tire management is the key.
Mentally, it's just very, very tough because you know you've got a fast race car and you really want to go out and drive as hard as you can, but you just got to mentally sit back and take it easy. You know, the first 10 laps on a fuel run is probably the most important. If you take care of your tires that first few laps, you know, you just it'll pay off in the end.
The Austin Dillon right there, the 31 car, right behind that smoking car. That's Bobby Gerhardt. Looks like he may be headed towards the pits, but Austin Dillon was penalized for equipment leaving his pit on the most recent pit stop, so that's why he is back as far as he was. He had worked his way up into the top 10. Right now, Austin's being shown in about the 20th position, so he's making his way back towards the front, but very promising young grandson of Richard Childress.
Yeah, I've watched him race some dirt cars throughout the last couple of years. He won the, I guess, the Busch East race a couple of weeks ago, so he's been doing a great job. I get to see, you know, see his family in and around the garage. So I know he's got some good coaches down there on the pit box today.
I was talking to Richard on his way in this morning, and he said that Austin's younger brother Ty won his dirt track race last night. So he was in, and obviously Clint Boyer won last night at Richmond. So it's been a great weekend for Richard Childress Racing, and a nice top 10 finish here for Austin would really cap it off.
Yeah, and I think he can get the job done. Looks like Gerhardt's got some bad tire smoke or something there on the left front.
Yeah, a matter of time before something goes away on that.
Yeah, I'm sure the ARCA Re-Max officials are going to be looking at that, Wendy.
Yeah, what Bobby Gerhardt is reporting right now that he feels it's a broken oil line. Didn't say anything about the tire, so right now he's just trying to get to pit road and not bring out a caution.
The smoke continues to roll as the officials continue to watch that 5 of Bobby Gerhardt going around the racetrack. They don't think it's a tire issue.
He would love to stay on the lead lap when the leader gets up to the 5 of Bobby Gerhardt, though that maybe force his hand a little bit. There's Joey Logano, the 25, going to go around the outside of Bobby Gerhardt.
Outside.
Joey's opened up about a 4-second lead on the 18, the second place car of Billy Leslie.
Looks like we got a car stopping there coming out of turn 2, so that might be a caution that Gerhardt's looking for.
Slow car coming out of turn number 2. Doesn't look like he's going to make it all the way back to pit road, but still no caution as of yet.
You know, it's amazing. You thought maybe Bobby Gerhart might be in a position for the Aaron's lucky dog if the caution come out. I'm telling you, Joey Logano has passed 10 cars since he passed the 5 of Bobby Gerhart.
There's that slow car on the backstretch. Still no caution has come out. He's not in the line, but it just doesn't look like.
I wouldn't be there if I was him.
Yeah, he needs to get down on the apron, but I'm sure that's what Gerhardt's looking for. He's looking for something like that where he can come in and work on that car, you know, at the same time Joey Logano's taking some lap down.
So Tim Mitchell, and I'm not sure why, he's running right up next to that white line, which is the preferred line around this racetrack at times.
Yeah, I would call Tim Mitchell being in harm's way right now.
He's able to look like get it fired back up and is moving along on the apron. It looked as though he was out of power for quite some time, and now he's going to come on the racetrack.
Maybe he had ignition problem or something, switched boxes and got it fired back up. Oh, now we've got a spin
now. Coming off turn number 4.
Of Donnie Kelly gets turned around, and our 5th caution of the day comes out. Well, it didn't help out Gerhart, though, because, as you mentioned, Joey Logano was able to pass other cars.
At least if Bobby would have come down pit road, he would have lost at least 1, if not 2 more laps. So he will only be 1 lap down, and then he'll be in position later on possibly to get the Aaron's lucky dog.
And that's Donnie Kelly in the 23.
It's going to be interesting to see if Michael Annett and Justin Allgaier and maybe even Ricky Stenhouse decide to put tires on now. Michael Annett has stayed up.
Loose coming off.
Pace car's here, buddy.
Pit tires, forget that, pit tires. Never mind, change it now, change it.
Again, that's Donnie Kelly on pit road right now. He is the reason for our most recent caution when it came out on lap 85. Still in front of the field, Joey Logano has been setting a blistering pace at the Rock.
4,500.
You know, Michael Annett and Justin Allgaier both have stayed up in the top 10, as well as Ricky Stenhouse. So they've done a good job on their old tires.
Yeah, I think that was a smart move, and you'll be able to get a good feel on how your balance is going to go from, you know, early on a set of tires to late. So I think that was a great call by the 99 team.
Billy Leslie second. Then it's Matt Carter, Ken Schrader, and Matt Hawkins rounding out our top 5. Close calls all day for Joey Logano. Jim Trado.
Well, guys, I'm just monitoring the Ricky Stenhouse pit. They did come down for 4 tires. The discussion before pitting was with the spotter, Eric Peterson, and his second spotter for this team. Ricky Stenhouse used to race for Tony Stewart. Stewart's on the stand up there spotting for the team. The discussion was between the crew chief and Tony Stewart about what tire pressure change. They said, let's take 1 pound out of the left side. The car's a bit tight in the center, loose off. So Stewart making the call to make the tire pressure change to get Ricky Stenhouse and this Roush Fenway racing team up to speed. Wendy?
Veteran driver Bobby Gerhart, who has never raced at Rockingham, is on pit road and on the jack because he has a loose oil line. They're going to add some oil to it. There was oil all over the hood and the windshield of the car. They wiped it down. Bobby Gerhart, 10th in points coming into the Rockingham event. His concern before the start of the race was the economic status costing so much for the weekend. This is really going to cost Bobby Gerhart now as we go green.
Good jump again by Joey Logano. Billy Leslie continues to run second in that 18 car. There's Matt Carter, the green and white car. That's the 46. He's running third. Kenny Schrader now up to the 4th spot.
3 different lines we saw the cars go through turn number 3 and 4.
Well, that was out of 4 cars.
Yeah. Billy Leslie staying right in the tire tracks of Joey Logano. We see Matt Carter running up higher on the racetrack. And then hugging that white line was Ken Schrader.
Yeah, I think you have to make your car work on the bottom of the racetrack here, and then you can move around. You can move around like Matt Carter does. You see Billy Leslie a little bit more in the middle of the racetrack, but you have to have that car working on the bottom at some point.
Matt Hawkins rounding out our top 5 in the 39.
Grant Kimball just able to get by the 28 of Michael Annett to take over the 6th position.
Wow, look at the run Schrader's got. He moves into the 2nd spot there.
That was Matt Carter in that 46 car.
That's right.
Billy Leslie's going to fight back on the outside, though.
Ken Schrader's got a front row seat to the battle for second just in front of him.
Billy was able to get back by him on the outside, looking all the way up to the top of the racetrack. Look at Schrader on the bottom.
Here's that run you were talking about, David. Ken Schrader really able to hug that white line, but then the momentum carries the other two cars past him as they come out of the turn. Jim Trado.
Hey guys, Ken Schrader did come down and pit when the majority of the teams came down and pitted. I checked with his crew chief, Donnie Richardson, who has won here twice as a crew member. And Schrader, my goodness, he has 39 Cup starts and 12 Nationwide Series starts here. He's also got a pole, so all those stats aside, he does have the most experience. They don't seem to be too concerned about tire wear. I said, how the tires look? He said, they're okay. Donnie Richardson also said, because of the experience they have, and they looked at the racetrack, he said the tire issues should lessen because of this hot weather, and the rubber down on the racetrack has eliminated a lot of that instant wear on the tires.
And of those 51 starts, no wins for Ken Schrader at the Rock.
He'd like to change that today, but you see the 39 right there. Matt Hawkins has caught this group. They're battling extremely hard for the second position, and allowed 39 of Matt Hawkins to catch up.
He's just been kind of sitting back, taking care of his tires. Looks like a spin on the racetrack caution.
Another caution coming out. This one the 6th. We haven't reached the 100 lap mark as the 14 did get turned around. Ted Bayaval Olszewski. There's no vowels in the middle between O and I for Ted's last name. But he gets turned around, bringing out our 6th caution of the day.
That's another one of the cars out of the Andy Belmont stable. Teammate to Tom Hessert III, driving that one car. Tom's on the lead lap right now, running in the 13th spot. His father raced here back in the old Busch Series.
Really?
Sure did.
We heard earlier from Bobby Gerhardt's team, and Wendy was talking about oil underneath the hood, inside the engine compartment. Obviously, oil had to get on the racetrack, too, so that may have been a factor here with Ted getting turned around on the track.
Matt Carter, Stein's seat on board. Matt being shown in the 3rd spot right now.
Again, this being the 6th caution. Another Aaron's Lucky Dog will be handed out. This time it's Patrick Shelter. A lot of damage to that car.
Yeah, that was that earlier incident coming off turn number 2, and he's fought. He's made a number of pit stops to do the repairs and able to get the Aaron's Lucky Dog. So Patrick Shelter now will join the other 21 cars on the lead lap.
22 cars on the lead lap. Is that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. that scored all the way back there in 18th?
Yeah, I thought with the new tires maybe he would have had a little more speed there at the get-go, but maybe they've got a little different setup and it takes a few laps for him to come in.
Michael Annett currently in the 8th spot. Wendy Benarini.
Yeah, Michael Annett desperately wants some tires, and we thought they would be coming in on this current caution. Well, crew chief is making that call by following the 25 of Joey Logano. When they saw the 25 stay out, they said stay out. So Michael Annett is not going to get the tires he's requesting right now, but keep in mind the 28 and the 25 are on 2 different lap times, 2 different laps from when they got their tires. The 25 of Joey Logano took tires at lap 49, while the 28 of Michael Annett has not had tires since lap 13.
Quite a bit different.
Well, he's definitely won tires. There's no question about that.
And that whining that you talked about earlier as far as the drivers wanting those tires, I'm guessing Michael Annett right now is going, come on, would you let me come in and get tires?
Please give me tires.
Somebody help me out here. Tires are critical at the Rock. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Rockingham Speedway. It is Joey Logano with Billy Leslie right on his back bumper as they've just got the green here at Rockingham.
Billy Leslie is able to hang in with Joey right after the restart, and then the more laps we click off, the more Joey Logano is able to pull away.
Matt Carter closing in on the back bumper of Billy Leslie now, as he and Ken Schrader are working well together on the bottom of the racetrack.
We saw Matt running the high side of the racetrack just a few moments ago before that caution flag came out. There's a good view from Kenny Schrader's onboard camera. Now Kenny's going to move up the racetrack. Matt's going to move to the bottom and try to take a look at Billy Leslie.
One where they're not, I've heard said numerous times, and so Ken Schrader tries a different line around the racetrack.
And you notice one thing, they're running in shade in turn 3 and 4, which obviously looks like it allows Logano to run the bottom, and then driving into turn 1 in the sunlight, and it looks like the guys move around from top to bottom a little more.
to the wall is the 46 of Matt Carter. As the 52, Ken Schrader tries to get by Matt Carter for that third position.
Great battle for second, third, and fourth right there. Billy Leslie has second. Matt Carter, the 46, is in third. Kenny Schrader trying to take it away. Kenny's running fourth right now. Matt Hawkins continues to run fifth.
Riding along with the 46 of Matt Carter.
Look at Kenny Schrader over on the left.
Made the pass. Gets in front of Matt Carter now, so he takes over third.
Yeah, Kenny said, go ahead, Matt. You follow. You follow Billy Leslie up there in the high side.
I'm going to run this low line, the quick route around Rockingham today, or at least right now.
Looks like Schrader's got the low line working for now. He's moving up a little bit.
Now he sets his sights on that 18 of Billy Leslie, trying to take second away.
Yeah, we have to give Johnny Benson a call too. Remember, Johnny Benson came over and practiced this car for Kenny while Kenny was in Richmond.
Billy Leslie goes back to the inside, see if he can get back by Ken Schrader. Kenny runs up a little bit higher on the racetrack, so now Kenny Schrader's going to try to reel in Joey Logano. No one's really had anything for Logano all race today.
Really haven't. Even in qualifying, obviously he sat on the pole. Practice, he was very, very quick. So Joey Logano has had this entire weekend go his way, but he's got a guy with, as we've talked about, a tremendous amount of experience at this racetrack and tire management in Kenny Schrader.
15 wins for Ken Schrader in the ARCA Re Series. His most recent came a year ago at Toledo. But again, we mentioned 51 starts in the NASCAR ranks on this racetrack, but no win. We're going to change that today at the Rock. Billy Leslie, I saw a little steam on the overflow there, so maybe a little bit of a heating issue for Billy Leslie in that 18.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing. He may be pushing out a little bit of water. Come to pit road, they can pull a little tape off that car.
And that looks like he's cutting some of the guys a break. You know, maybe they're telling them to fall back a little, just get in some clean air and just ride a little bit. You know, still not halfway yet, so no need to push the issue this early.
There's a good battle right there. That's the 75 of Clay Rogers and the 4 of Taylor Malsom. That's a battle for the 10th position. Clay had a lot of trouble qualifying. He actually made the top 25, but they had to change the transmission. His clutch was slipping, so they changed the clutch and the transmission. That's a Bob Shack car right there. So obviously they have that car repaired, doing well, running up in the top 10 now.
We've passed the 1/3 point of this race. Again, it's 312 laps, 500 kilometers. There's Austin Dillon in that number 31, right in the middle of all the action. Gabby DiCarlo just in front of him. Taylor Malsom on the outside in that number 4.
There's John West Townley, the 09, that yellow and red Ford, the Zaxby's Ford, out of Robbie Benton's stables.
He's been doing a good job, you know, running in the 13th spot right now, just kind of taking his time. He's one of the few cars on track. You know, he's been in the middle of racing all day long, doesn't have any damage yet, so he's looking good.
We're going to see him in some truck races on speed. He's going to drive the Zaxby's Ford out of the Roush Fenway stables several races.
That's right, in Mansfield, coming up in a few weeks, he's going to make his debut at Mansfield, Ohio, in the Zaxby's Ford. So that's going to be exciting. He's been doing a good job today. His car looks good. Wow, they're 3 wide in front of him.
Whoa, wow. Patrick Shelton dove down to the bottom of the racetrack. Very close call there. As Taylor Malsom on his outside. John West Townley trying to find the line around this racetrack where he can get by that 60 of Patrick Shelton.
Yeah, that is a battle for position as well. We saw Patrick Shelton get that Aaron's lucky dog just a few moments ago, and now he's up here battling up in the top 15.
And right now there are 22 cars on the lead lap. Allie Owens in the 12 is 22nd. Field spreading out a bit once again. Take a look back at some of the close calls that have taken place on the racetrack. Look at Patrick Shelton getting by that 79.
So almost up into Taylor Malsom. Did a nice job staying off him and
right down in front of him. That was road rage. I think that might have been road rage right there. Well, we got problems on the backstretch. Yeah, coming out of the backstretch right here.
Yeah, Michael Phelps, I believe that 45 car.
Here in the 4 may have been involved in this. Taylor Malsom.
There you see right there the damage on the right front corner of that Cunningham Motorsports Dodge.
A lot of damage to the right front. And so our 7th caution of the day has come out from Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Let's take another look at what happened.
There's John West Townley. Ooh, a little contact between Patrick Sheltra and the 4 of Taylor Malsom.
That was a good job by the 60 and the 09 getting around that. That could have been a little bigger mess. But
Michael Phelps is going to get the worst of the situation. See, the 4 comes up a little bit on Patrick Sheltra. They do a nice job, but unfortunately, Michael Phelps doesn't look like he had any contact. He may have just locked the brakes up for a moment, slid those rear tires, and around. And when we talk about the backstretch being banked here, like it is in a lot of places, and if something happens, it's going to take you right to the inside wall.
He'll have to go to work on the 4 of Taylor Malsom. Make sure that there's no tire rub there. He's got a little debris on the inside of that car.
We may be in line for a lot of pit stops. Remember now, lap 50 is when the majority of the field came down pit road. We're now on lap number 113. Obviously not all of these laps have been under green, but nonetheless, we may see some wholesale pit stops here.
On the outside, just keep it low.
the pit road is open, and it'll be interested to see if the 28 is going to come down or not.
I think if the 25 comes down, then it forces his hand. He has to come down.
He peaked, and the 25 of Joey Logano is going to stay on the racetrack. But Ken Schrader decides to bring a few cars with him. Let's go down to Jim Trado.
Guys, when Billy Leslie comes down pit road into his stall, they're going to actually just change 4 tires. They're concerned about getting more grip in the car, Phil. As you can imagine, the driver said there's no grip. It's loose everywhere. They're going to do 4 tires and gas and take a little tape off the grill. Kenny Schrader came in 5 laps ago or so on the green. I asked his crew chief, Donnie Richardson, I said, how soon can you come? He said, next caution would be great. They're going to just change 4 tires. They're very happy with the setup. No major changes on Schrader's 52. Guys?
You see Kenny Schrader finishing up his pit work on the left side. Our leader, Joey Logano, stayed on the racetrack, as well as the 46 of Matt Carter. So some differing pit strategies.
Onto the wall. Come on. You still got it.
Kenny Schrader going to make his exit off of pit road.
So Kenny Schrader brings his car off the racetrack. Fast car on the racetrack today has been that 25 of Joey Logano. David Reagan, thank you for joining us up here. I know that you are definitely a spectator of the sport when you're not behind the wheel, so we'll let you actually go watch this one for a while.
Yeah, I'm going to sit in the grandstands. Beautiful weather here today in Rockingham, and just enjoy the rest of the race. You know, certainly it's been exciting so far. 25 looks like he's had the field covered, but you've got some good cars right behind him. It'll be interesting to see how the end of the race falls out.
Hey, you may be watching this race, this ARCA race, but you're going to be racing in a few weeks in Toledo.
Yeah, in a few weeks we're going to take a Ford up there. Gary Rouleau and the Rouleau Brothers race team are preparing a Ford Fusion to go up to Toledo and have some fun. It's all about having fun on the weekends that we're not racing on the Cup side, just to have a good time.
Good deal. Thanks,
Very
David.
Good. Appreciate you coming up here and joining us. Good luck in the future. And obviously we'll be keeping our eye out for you when you're running in the ARCA Re Series. 7 cautions have happened at the Rock to this point. We'll be back with more green flag racing after this. Green flag back in the air for the Carolina 500. Rockingham Speedway. Joey Logano, as David Reagan had mentioned, pretty much had the field covered, but now Matt Carter looks to the outside as he restarts this race in second. Right behind him, Justin Allgaier, Patrick Sheltra, John West Townley, your top 5.
Differing pit strategies. I think the top 7 cars that time stayed on the racetrack. The 3 car of Jeremy Clements, I think, is the first car that came down pit road.
What's the strategy going on down on pit road for the 25, Wendy?
Yeah, it was a last-minute call by crew chief Billy Venturini. He decided to stay out with Joey Logano as the 18 and the 52 decided to come down pit road and take tires. Now, also on this end of pit road, we had the 28 of Michael Annette, who finally got his 4 fresh tires that he was desperately seeking. His crew chief Joe Lax came back and said the tires looked beautiful after 100 laps on those tires. So looks like it will be good for Logano as the yellow is out.
Yep, caution again. This is number 8, as it looks like the 22 of Ken Butler III got a lot of damage to that race car.
He had some damage from that earlier incident coming off of turn number 2, and then had that flat tire. But a lot more damage to that Aaron's Dream machine for Ken Butler III.
Tough day for Eddie Sharp Racing, as Scott Speed was involved in an accident very early on, around lap 11.
Justin Laughlin.
Lofton as well. Also involved. So a difficult day for Eddie Sharp and his race team. We'll take another look at why that 22 has so much damage.
Looks like he might have got a little bit of a bump from behind. He was in some heavy traffic right there, and he's going to make, again, he's going to make some contact with the inside wall. You spin down the backstretch and you're going to make some contact with the inside wall.
Behind the wall once again for that Toyota. That crew will go to work and see if they can get him back on the racetrack.
No pit stops by the 7 guys that stayed out the last time, Rick.
Yep, 22 cars on the lead lap. And Phil, we're closing in on obviously the halfway points, lap 156. But if these guys are being so conservative, as we see our Aaron's lucky dog Justin Marks getting a lap back, but if these guys are so conservative with their tire usage early on in this race, I'm guessing we're going to have quite a few cars that will still have tires at the end of this race and make for quite a competitive finish.
It really looks like that, and I think that's because of the caution laps, the number of caution laps on these tires. The guys look at green flag laps. They don't look at caution laps, because you're running around here at 45 or 50 miles an hour. You really don't abuse these tires at all. So that's what they're looking at, is green flag laps, and they would love to have a fresh set of tires with about 20 laps to go if the caution were to come out.
John West Townley and Billy Leslie both making their way onto pit road. John West Townley was scored in the 4th spot before he came onto pit road. So a big stop for them. It looks like they're going to do a chassis adjustment, fill it back up with fuel, but no tires for John West Townley.
See Billy Leslie's on pit road. He was on pit road, the caution flag, with just about everybody in the field that pitted other than those first 7 cars, but he may have some, we saw some steam a little bit earlier, right. So there may be some overheating issues for Billy Leslie.
Again, John West Townley came in and didn't get tires, but they did some chassis adjustments to that race car as he will make his way back out onto the racetrack. Jim Trado, what's going on with the 18?
Yeah, that was the thought, guys. They actually took some tape off the front end, and when during that green flag segment, I ducked my head in the pits and said, guys, what are you guys doing with the tape on the grill? Was it cosmetic or aero? And they said, no, we just thought it was running a little bit hot in traffic, so we want to take some tape off the car just to get it cool down. This is a long race, and they thought about putting tape back on, so that decision might have been made sooner to get that car handling better, because Billy said, as we mentioned, it's loose everywhere, so he's trying to get a better handle on it, so they're playing with the tape on the grill, guys.
I'll tell you, he's got more problems than that, Jim. It looks like they may be going behind the wall.
They're going to push him behind the wall, so obviously either an expired engine because of that overheating or something else mechanical has gone wrong with that race car. Doesn't look like it's been damaged in any way, but he just came to stop on pit road, and then nobody really did anything. They didn't look under the hood or anything.
Yeah, I think it was probably damage from that overheating issue, and probably hurt that engine. Unfortunately for Billy Leslie, he was having such a great run here. He's a former winner in this series. He won last year, 2007 season, but tough break for Billy Leslie.
And we will go back to green flag racing. The pace car making its way back onto pit road. It's been Joey Logano out in front of this field the majority of the laps. Matt Carter will restart second. We'll see if he's got anything for Joey on the restart.
All clear.
Justin Allgaier is not coming up to speed at all. He actually, I think he knew it was going to happen, because he pulled over into the middle and allowed that right-hand lane to go by him. You see, now he's getting back up to speed. He may have a transmission issue with that 16 car.
Mike Lynette with fresh tires is working his way up past the 60 of Patrick Sheltra.
Matt Carter will give chase to the 25 of Joey Logano. There's Michael Annette, that yellow and red Toyota on the inside, the Pilot Travel Center.
That's what fresher tires do for you.
Oh, they're great. As Hank Parker Jr. would say, for Mr. Feelgoods.
And Michael Annette's got him right now. So he's trying to work his way up and catch the 2 cars in front of him that don't have as fresh a tires as he does. Joey Logano and that 46 of Matt Carter have pulled away from him, but he'll begin to reel them in, clicking up faster lap times.
Here's Jeremy Clements, that 3 car on the inside. There's the 75 of Clay Rogers. We talked about him a few moments ago. Justin Allgaier, the 16, back up to speed now. That white car stuck into the inside is Ricky Stenhouse. Remember, he's one of the cars that stayed out on the racetrack, did not put tires on when he had the opportunity.
Justin Allgaier, number 16, now back up to speed. Take a look at what happened here a lap ago.
That's the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse in the middle, the 75 Clay Rogers on the outside, the 3 of Jeremy Clements on the inside. And that's how you can race at Rockingham.
3 wide, and the slow car is in the middle. Reminds me of Talladega. Well, maybe not.
A whole lot different.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in that number 99, still trying to work his way back toward the front in the 7th spot now. He's been all the way back to 18th. But working his way back up into the top 5. We saw a little smoke, a little tire rub, it looked like.
It looked like off the 44 Frank Kimmel.
Yeah.
Maybe a little left front tire rub. Jeremy Clements, the 3 car right there, continues to run in the 6th spot. There's Matt Hawkins going to drive behind the inside in that 39 car.
Right behind Matt Hawkins is at 99, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So trying to hold on to his position now. See him on the bottom of the racetrack, followed by Austin Dillon, trying to get by him.
Yeah, trying to get by Austin. May have been a little contact there for a moment. There's Kenny Schrader at the back, right behind Ricky Stenhouse. We know Kenny has fresh tires in that 52 Four Winds Motorhomes Dodge.
Saw Scott Speed back on the racetrack in his number 2. After they'd done a lot of work on that race car, but put him back out on the track.
There's Kenny Schrader right there. Riding right up behind Austin Dillon, the 31 car. Kenny being shown, as you can see, in the 9th position.
Ken Schrader back up into the top 10. I want to take a look back at that restart when there was problems with the 16 of Justin Allgaier. And you had pointed it out during the start. Take a look. He's restarting in the 3rd spot, but realizes something is wrong, so he pulls to the middle, allows these cars to go by him on the outside.
It looks like he may have lost 2nd and 3rd gear or something like that in his transmission, so he had to restart this race possibly in 4th gear, but he knew that. And instead of causing an accident, he pulled over and allowed that right side line to go by. Wendy, what's going on with that 16 car?
Well, Phil, there's 2 things wrong with Justin Allgaier, and you guessed one of them. He did lose 2nd and 3rd gear, so that's why he was slow on the restart. But here's something else that's going on with Justin Allgaier. He has pulled the muscle in his right arm, and I looked at them and said, how in the world did he do that? He said he's wheeling the car so hard. He has pulled the muscle. He has a lot of pain in his arm right now. Now, he did tell me before the race he was really concerned about being mentally on his game here. He said it's such a physically challenging racetrack. Justin Allgaier is a very small guy, but he's a tough driver on the racetrack right now.
And he's got something out for us, too, Phil. He said that he doesn't win when we're around.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
It is wrong. I mean, he can win at any racetrack. He's got the abilities. He won earlier this year when we weren't actually broadcasting the race, but it was at Salem. But then the very next week, he said, I think it might be you guys.
Yeah, he finished 2nd the very next week, and he finished 2nd in Daytona, which we had on speed,
exactly.
So I don't know why he can blame us like that.
He was very, very strong. But again, right now, fighting difficult issues with that 16, both the 2nd and 3rd gear he's lost, and he's got a sore right arm. So a difficult day for Justin Allgaier.
But he continues to run up in the top 10 right now. So still having a good day. It may be challenging, but he's still having a good day. Justin moves up to the top of the racetrack. He's another one of the guys that had to change engines after practice. Just didn't feel like the engine was performing, and they changed engines, and the first time on the racetrack with a fresh engine was qualifying, and obviously found out there were no problems at all. So good move by them.
A little bit of a modified here for Scott Speed in that number 2. Get involved in the accident on lap 11 to start off this race. A lot of damage to the right front. As you can see it, that car out there on the racetrack without the hood or the front bumper section.
All part of the learning experience, trying to make the transition from open wheel cars. Ran F1 last year and make a move to stock cars, and Meanwhile, there's a 17-year-old right here, Joey Logano, that has dominated this race. He's got about a 1-second lead right now over the 46 car of Matt Carter. That's the green and white car. Michael Annett is looking to the inside of Matt Carter, trying to take over the second spot.
Take a look at this car. What a feel-good story for this team here in the 05. Jeff Boyer driving this, and he's a instructor for one of the Buck Baker Racing School.
Yeah, the lead instructor. And they had an engine problem here.
Yeah.
Actually expired an engine while they were qualifying, but ran fast enough to get in the field. And they were just so complimentary. All the other race teams pitched in and helped, and they end up, his car owner ended up getting him another motor, and they worked very diligently to put that motor in, and here he is on the racetrack. He was involved in that incident over there coming off of turn number 2, so he's being relegated back in the 40th spot right now, but nonetheless, so excited to be here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and all the crew members all volunteering their time and really working extremely hard just to get that race car on the track. So they were very excited that they were able to make this field.
Yeah, sure was. That's an ex-Tony Stewart car.
Yeah, that's right. They had pictures of that. When they went to pick that up, they had pictures of what it looked like when Tony Stewart was driving it.
Michael Annett has taken over the second position. Now he has closed to within 1 second of our leader, Joey Logano. Matt Hawkins runs third. Matt Carter now is back to the 4th spot. Kenny Schrader's 5th.
And Joey Logano with about a second lead over Michael Annett. Michael Annett has fresher tires than Joey Logano does, so we would expect that lead to start to shrink.
It's shrinking because that's Michael Annett right there. They are coming.
I believe it has shrunk, as a matter of fact. Michael Annett reeling in Joey Logano. So very close to a pass for the lead here. We're about to see if we continue under green flag conditions.
He is all over. Michael Annett right now is on the rear bumper of Joey Logano.
All lined up on the top side.
Joey Logano stays up high. Here comes Michael Annett. Pass for the lead at Rockingham.
39's with him. Inside.
This is where he has to be extremely patient. Just drive his race. I know that told him those guys have fresher tires. Don't worry about them.
Inside.
That's about the first time anyone has actually passed Joey Logano on the racetrack. Now, Joey Logano lost the lead when he came onto pit road and a few cars stayed on the racetrack, but that's the first time we've seen somebody actually go by him on a racetrack.
Matt Hawkins, the 39 car, now going to take the second spot from Joey Logano.
Actually, a guy who was running very well in the top 5 earlier, we've got into the wall just a bit. Matt Carter, we'll take a look at this. Running up high.
Yeah, running up high, just lost the front end a little bit, had to chase it up the hill. Very slight contact. It cost him a spot. Kenny Schrader now has gotten by him to take over the 4th position. There's Justin Allgaier now trying to take over that 5th spot.
Allgaier looking to the inside. Earl Basham in the 34. Just inside of him, slower lap traffic.
Comes Clay Rogers, that 75 car. Out of Bob Shack Stables.
Closing in on the halfway point of this race. Lap 156 will be the halfway point. We look back from Matt Carter's on board.
This is when Matt Carter now is squealing for tires.
I need tires. Well, Joey Logano is probably making a little bit of noise as well. In that same situation in needing tires. Again, starting this race, ARCA limiting the teams to 6 sets of tires. 5 in the pits and the 1 set that's on the car. So a lot of guys have been using pit strategy, maybe not putting on a fresh set of tires and only coming in for an adjustment, fuel. But now it looks like you might need to divvying out some of those sets of tires.
Yeah, these drivers are wanting them extremely hard, but good battle for the lead here. Michael Annett, that 28 car, the Pilot Travel Center Toyota, and there's Matt Hawkins, a winner earlier this year at Iowa, running in the 2nd spot.
Matt Hawkins closing the gap now between he and Michael Annett. Michael Annett now in front of the field. They have pushed Joey Logano back to the 3rd spot. Ken Schrader still comfortably in 4th. Justin Allgaier running out our top 5. Welcome back. Caution number 9 has come out on the racetrack here from Rockingham Speedway, and we're expecting some of our lead lap cars to make their way onto pit road. Sure enough, Joey Logano and Ken Schrader both making their way onto pit road, so they will have a fresh set of tires put on their race cars. Let's go down to Jim Trado.
And Matt Carter's coming on pit road. His father and crew chief Travis has the stop sign. Travis broke 5 minutes down the road in a house just up the hill, so this is a special race for them. Matt is yet to race here, but what a run he's had. The car's been tight all day. They're actually going one round up and trying to get the car a bit tighter, or excuse me, a little looser for him in the 4-6. Let's go down to Wendy.
Joey Logano was going to have to make a green flag pit stop. 100 laps on these tires. We're going to take a look at them when they come back over pit wall. And excellent timing on that caution because it was awfully hairy here in the 25 pit. Billy Venturini was going to have to make a green flag stop, but the caution came out just in the right amount of time. I'm taking a look at the tires, and I will get back to you to see what that tire wear looked like. 100 laps is the same thing Michael Annett did earlier in this race.
It worked for Michael Annett.
Sure did. Look, Wendy, let's find out also how many green flag laps on those tires as well.
Yeah, Joey Logano has obviously been setting the pace here at Rockingham today. Now we need to find out what that has been as far as a factor on his tires. How much wear he has on those 4 Hoosiers that just came off of that racetrack. Let's take a look at why we are under this most recent caution.
That's the 20 of Justin Laughlin and the 32 of Dominic Casola. Dominic was running in the 13th spot on the lead lap. We saw Justin Laughlin have that incident. There's the 0-5 also. Jeff Boyer getting involved there at the tail end of it.
Another look as they got up into the wall. 20 and the 32. Then we'll slide down the racetrack and we'll see the 0-5 slide by after they get onto the apron.
And these banks are self-cleaning. See the 0-5, he just gets to the instant, locks it up, it looks like, and the rear brakes just lock up for a moment. That turns him sideways.
Again, we were talking about Michael Annett and such a strong race car. Well, he actually was passed before that caution came out. The 39 of Matt Hawkins was able to take over the lead, and Michael Annett was relegated back to the 2nd spot. Moving up to 3rd, the 10 of Chad McCumbee. We haven't mentioned his name very much earlier, but I'm guessing we'll mention his name quite a bit when we come back to Rockingham Speedway. Chad McCumbee now in the 3rd spot. Matt Hawkins leads the field here in the Carolina 500. The 59 of Nick Tucker is the lucky dog. He receives the Aaron's lucky dog, so he will get a lap back. He placed on the lead lap, 16 on the lead lap now, Phil.
Nick works for Evernham Motorsports. He does their chassis dyno work and also their straight line testing opportunity. This is actually the car that Aaron Crocker ran last year and won the Super Speedway Challenge in the ARCA Re Series.
Nick's run all the way up as far as 6th in this race. We take a look at our race summary after we've passed the halfway point. Again, Matt Hawkins out in front of this field. There's been 6 lead changes. Now, normally that's been taking place between Joey Logano and 5 other drivers, so or any other drivers. But 6 lead changes, 9 cautions for 54 laps, and only 5 cars of the 50 that started are out of this race. Wendy Venturini.
Well, Phil Parsons had the question, 100 laps on the tires for the 25, but how many were green flag laps? There was 75, and the tires, when I just looked at them, they look in excellent shape. They ran these laps and this many laps in practice yesterday. Now, Billy Venturini, the crew chief, told Joey Logano, he said, your tires look great, and I promise you, I won't make you go that long on a tire run. We're sitting pretty for the rest of the race.
I bet Joey Logano had a big smile on his face when he heard that coming from Billy Venturini.
That's a lot of green flag laps, 75. So, and he still was maintaining the 3rd spot there. Now, he did lose the lead to Michael Annett, and then who was subsequently passed by the 39 of Matt Hawkins, but still was maintaining a good pace with that many laps in his tires. It just proves that he has a great race car.
Joe Logano is going to restart in the 10th spot. We'll see how he does working his way through traffic that he's racing for position. We've seen him go by the slower lap traffic today. We hadn't seen very many people get by him until Michael Annett was able to do it. But now we've got the green flag about to come back out. And again, it's Matt Hawkins that is leading this field.
Kenny Schrader in 9th, I think, is the first car that came down pit road on that caution flag. The top 8, I believe, stayed out.
Field out of 4. Green flag back in the air.
Michael Annett really spun the tires on that restart. That allowed Chad McCumbee to drive by on the outside.
Chad McCumbee takes over second. Michael Annett drops back to third. Get a good start for Matt Hawkins as he's trying to hold off McCumbee. McCumbee charging on the bottom of the racetrack.
As you mentioned right before we went away to commercial, we haven't talked a whole lot about Chad, but he's no stranger to winning in this series. He's won, what, I think 2 or 3 nationwide races here in this ARCA Remax races.
Nashville and Pocono, I think.
Pocono last year, exactly. This car is also owned by Andy Hillenberg, who owns the racetrack, as well as Brian Silas's number 11 car.
He was able to close the gap on Matt Hawkins. Now it looks like Hawkins back up to speed. Trying to hold him off. Chad McCumbee right on the bottom of the racetrack. Trying to make that work for his number 10.
So Chad's going to do some Sprint Cup racing for Kyle Petty here later on this season. Won full-time in the Truck Series. Done a great job this year. Had a top 5 finish. I believe it was Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken.
Take a look at this. Austin Dillon in that 31.
Kenny Schrader, that 52 car. Austin looks down low on the inside. Going to drive by on the inside. Going to pass Kenny Schrader.
Able to get by Ken Schrader, so Austin Dillon moving up. Grabs the 9th spot. Matt Carter just in front of Austin Dillon. Now we're riding along with Kenny Schrader. No tires when he came down pit road for Schrader, just fuel and a chassis adjustment.
That's why these cars are able to drive by Kenny Schrader. Such a differing tire strategy so far. We documented what Joey Logano was doing. He had 101 laps on fuel, 75 of those green flag laps. There's our leader right there, Matt Hawkins, and right now Joey Logano has made his way up to the 6th position.
We're able to take a look at the 99. He was working around the 52 of Ken Schrader as well. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. trying to break back into the top 10. Start on the outside of row 1 today with Joey Logano. Those two now are battling their way back up toward the front. Joey Logano is up to the 6th spot last time we looked at him.
Matt Hawkins, our leader. Remember, he took the lead from the 28th of Michael Annett. Michael restarted this race in the 2nd position, but had trouble on the restart. Watch this now. Watch. He's the yellow and red car. He spun the tires. Joey Logano almost may even have made a little bit of contact, but that Chad McCumbee, I mean, that allowed Chad to drive by him on the outside. Watch again now. He starts spinning the tires. You see him get a little bit loose. You see the black marks he left on this racetrack. 840 or 50 horsepower these cars have.
A lot of horsepower being pushed back to those rear tires. So a little bit of problems for Michael Annett on the restart allowed Chad McCumbee to take 2nd away, and now Matt Hawkins is pulling away from that 10 of Chad McCumbee. The difference between the two of them now 1.8 seconds the last time by the start finish line. So Matt Hawkins doing what the 25 of Joey Logano did early on in this race. And take a look, there's Joey Logano trying to get by Michael Annett.
That's Clay Rogers, the 75 on the outside. That is a battle for position. That's 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Too wide. Little pitch. Cleared to the top. Cleared to the top.
Joey able to get by both of those cars to take over the 3rd spot. Clay Rogers takes over the 4th spot. Chad McCumbee continues to run in the 2nd position.
So Michael Annett again problems on the restart. Dropped him back behind Chad McCumbee. And now some other cars have been able to work their way around him as they're all chasing Matt Hawkins around the racetrack. McCumbee 2.1 seconds behind our race leader. Michael Annett's dropped back to the 4th spot.
Right behind this 75 car is a 44 of Frank Kimmel. Frank started way back.
Trying to get
the very top of your screen, yeah.
Back into the top 5.
Joey Logano was taking over the 2nd spot from Chad McCumbee.
You know, right now, just outside our top 10, we've got Jeremy Clements, a name that we talked a lot about last year. Hasn't run a lot of races this season, but he's in the 11th spot. Taylor Malsom's running 12th in the number 4. Patrick Sheltra still on the lead lap running in the 13th position. Jim Trado.
Hey guys, Frank Kimmel started this race well in the back, and they now have left front tire damage or left front fender damage, which they fixed the last time down pit road. And Bill Kimmel looked at me a moment ago and said, guys, this is a really long race. He wasn't worried at all. They just want to make sure the car is right. They did have to pull that fender away from his Ford, so we'll see how it goes for Frank Kimmel as he's trying to race again to the next race in Kentucky, but having a good run here yet today.
It's great to see a logo on that car.
It is. And we talked about going to have the Ford Drive 1 program on board that car starting in Kentucky next week. And Bill told me that the car will be blue and white next week now instead of this
back to blue and
generic
white.
Red here that we have.
A color that we had seen in the past out of the Kimmel-driven cars. We do see a little blue smoke coming out from the left front of that car. So, as Jim Trado was just talking about, maybe a little tire rub there on the left front.
Yeah, they made some repairs. I don't think they got all of it, so they're going to have to work on that again. There's our leader, Matt Hawkins, but Joey Logano is coming.
Joey Logano has been the class of the field. Had to go 101 laps before he was able to get the fresh tires, and it's just been a matter of time before he's worked his way back up toward the front. Currently running in the second spot, 0.3 of a second that last time by the start-finish line. It could be a pass for the lead on this very lap.
You know, people ask me all the time, what does it feel like to drive a race car? I said, well, I mean, it's terrific. I said, but there's nothing better than being in a place like Rockingham or Darlington, and you have fresh tires and they don't. There's no better feeling on earth for a race car driver, and that's what Joey Logano is feeling right now as he takes the lead.
Joey Logano takes the lead as they go across the start-finish line, Wendy.
We were watching Joey Logano right there race around the 39, and it looked like the 39 of Matt Hawkins got really high in 1 and 2 on that last lap. I couldn't tell exactly if he scraped the wall or not, but 39 getting out of shape when Joey Logano was making the move around him.
So Logano has made his way back in front of this field. Again, we're past the halfway point. I guess you would say it's all downhill from here for Joey Logano, and he's got tires on pit road. Earlier today, it was a ceremony to honor your brother, Benny Parsons. They renamed the tower here the Benny Parsons Tower.
Yeah, that's a tremendous honor. We really appreciate Andy doing that. You know, Benny raced for the majority of his career and living here in Ellerbe, North Carolina, which is in Richmond County, about 10 minutes from this racetrack. And this racetrack and this area meant so much to Benny and all the people here. So tremendous honor, and our family is really appreciative of that measure that Andy took.
Saw Keith and Kevin there, Benny's sons.
Yeah, very, very nice deal here.
Joey Logano now checking out on Matt Hawkins. 5.5 seconds the difference between he and second right now. I guess 4 fresh tires are a pretty good thing here at Rockingham, Phil.
They really are. But there are other cars with fresh tires too, and nobody right now has the speed that Joey Logano has.
Another guy who's been able to move up toward the front has been Austin Dillon, the number 31. Take a look at the way he's been able to work by the 10. Actually, the 10 got back by him, but it didn't take long for Austin Dillon to take that spot back.
Yeah, Austin got seized up a little bit behind that 23 of Donnie Kelly, and that allowed Chad McCumbee in that 10 to get back by him. But a great job by Austin Dillon so far. There you see him right there. Won his first Camping World E-Series race at Greenville a few weeks ago. Did a nice job on a very tough little flat half-mile racetrack. But this is the first time Austin's been on anything resembling a super speedway like this, and he's really doing a nice job.
This one just over a mile here at the Rock. 1 mile.
See Clay Rogers right there, the 75. Clay's having a great run. He's a great race car driver. We saw him in the Truck Series last year. He drove the 75 truck for the last half of the season, and that team went defunct. And Clay hasn't done a whole lot of racing this year. He finished 5th at Concord in a Hooters race a few weeks ago, but that's about all the racing he's done here. But great race car driver, and given Bob Shack's 75 Ford a good run here.
Oh yeah, sitting 4th right now. Joey Logano still running strong around this racetrack.
Joey just passes him when he comes to him, doesn't he?
Unbelievable. It's like that car's on a rail working around this racetrack. It was 5.5 seconds earlier. Now the difference between Joey Logano and Matt Hawkins, 8.5 seconds. So he's put 3 seconds more between he and Matt Hawkins.
Yeah, great battle right here for the 4th spot, though. Clay Rogers, that's 75. We've been watching this battle here. There's a 31, Austin Dillon, right on the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see if he can clear him as he exits turn 2. He does. Clay had a little bit of momentum, but Austin was able to get enough in front that he was able to pull up in front of Clay.
And that's the amazing thing about this racetrack. I mean, at one end of the track, they're right on the white line. The next end of the track, they're a lane away from the wall.
Okay, those fresh tires have really put a hurting on this field because they've lapped all the way up now to the 11th position. So only 11 cars on the lead lap right now, and that is the 44 of Frank Kimmel, and he is on the verge of going a lap down to our leader, Joey Logano.
Joey Logano setting a blistering pace right now around this racetrack as we see Austin Dillon and now Joey Logano going by that 44. There it is. Frank Kimmel going a lap down now. This is where Kimmel would say, okay, this would be a good time for a caution. I wouldn't mind taking Aaron's lucky dog right now.
Jeremy Clements right now is running in the 9th spot. The 46 of Matt Carter, who's been so strong this entire race, is back in the 10th position. So 46 of Matt Carter would be next for Joey Logano. There's Matt Carter right there, the Stein Seed Ford from Larry Clement. See a lot of debris on the windshield there. They have tear-offs now. I'm sure he's waiting for a pit stop where we can get that windshield cleaned off, and he would like to have that pit stop now. Now he would like to have that pit stop.
It'd be okay if I could get 4 fresh tires now, as we're closing in on the 200th lap of this 312 lap race.
There's Jeremy Clements right in front of him. There's that black with the orange numbers, number 3. That's Jeremy Clements. That's the 9th position. These guys are only about 3 or 4 seconds in front of Joey Logano, and as fast as Joey Logano's running right now, it won't be just a matter of a couple laps till Joey Logano catches these 2 guys to put him a lap down, Wendy.
Hey, most of us don't remember much about our teenage years because we weren't doing nearly as much as what Joey Logano's been doing. Phil, can you remember what you were doing at 15 years old? Because Joey Logano was gracing victory lane at 15 in the Hooters Pro Cup Series. And then last year in the Camping World Series, he won the first 2 races of his first 2 starts. And here he is at 17 years old, making his debut in the ARCA Re Series. Who, guess what, guys? He'll turn 18 in just a few short weeks. May 24th, Joey Logano would be the big 18. Jim?
And he did pass 9-time champion Frank Kimmel to put the champ a lap down. His brother Bill Kimmel to driver Frank said, you know what, guys, this is still a long race. Frank, we can get the lucky dog. Let's keep our heads up. We still have time. We'll get the lucky dog and get back in this thing.
One thing he has to hope for right now is that the 46 of Matt Carter doesn't get lapped by Joey Logano.
You know, Wendy asked if I can remember what I was doing at 15.
I was laughing because I was like, oh, it's been a lot longer for you to get back to 15.
Shut up. Shut up, Rick.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
but anyway, you do remember.
At 15, I was wanting to be a race car driver.
You were watching your brother?
Yeah, but it was 5 years before I ever sat in a race car. I was over 20 years old. We didn't have the Legend Series and the stuff like they do nowadays. So I wanted to do it my whole life, but I was never able to until I turned 20. But I'm really very envious of somebody like Joey Logano that's been able to do it just about his entire life. But what a great job he's done. And there's got a great battle for second. Michael Annette's going to try to move to the inside of Matt Hawkins.
Annette trying to take the position away. This is for the 2nd spot. Looks as though he will easily get by Matt Hawkins. So Michael Annette goes to 2nd. Matt Hawkins back to 3rd. The other thing, the stipulations on age now in stock car racing. I mean, NASCAR will not allow you to drive a race car until you're 18. So Joey Logano turns 18 on the 24th of May. He will jump right into a nationwide car after he turns 18.
Yeah, maybe right after midnight. He'll probably be sitting in a seat in that car. But yeah, he's going to run Dover. Will be his first nationwide race. And he told us yesterday in the media center that he had about an 18-race schedule in the nationwide series to do this year, but he is definitely on the fast track at Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, and obviously we've been able to see a little bit, a glimpse of the greatness that he's been able to bring to this racing series and this race today, as he has been very dominant on this racetrack. And right now, he has a 16.7 second lead over second. That's Michael Annett that has moved into second. So Joey Logano now about to go by Ken Schrader. Ken Schrader, yes, he's 7th, and he's putting him a lap down.
Yeah, Joey Logano is setting a terrific pace right now, almost 17 seconds in front of our second place car, Michael Annett. Kenny Schrader just couldn't do a thing about it. I don't think Kenny he didn't put tires on that last caution flag, so now he's feeling the effects of that. He would love to stay in contact with Joey Logano before Joey gets to the 10 car of Chad McCumbee. And if the caution were to come out, then he would be the lucky dog. But unfortunately, it's already too late for that because Chad McCumbee has gone a lap down. So now only 5 cars on the lead lap.
I'm starting to see what Mark Martin saw in this kid a few years ago. Unbelievable.
Pretty impressive effort today, huh?
Very, very impressive. Venerini Motorsports supplying the vehicle for this development driver, Joey Logano, in front of the field and about to lap the entire field here at Rockingham. Welcome back to the ARCA Re Series Carolina 500 from Rockingham Speedway. Yes, racing at the Rock has returned. Bill Parsons, Rick Allen with you, Jim Trado, and Wendy Venerini from the Rock, as Joey Logano is putting on a clinic today. We see Clay Rogers on pit road right now as they're putting tires on that. And yes, this is a green flag pit stop for Clay Rogers.
Clay was running up in the top 10. We saw him battling up in the top 5 not that long ago.
Now, even if you're in the top 5, you may not be on the lead lap.
Joey Logano is in the process of putting Matt Hawkins, our 3rd place car, a lap down. So now only 2 cars remain on the lead lap. Joey Logano, that 25, and a 28 of Michael Annett.
Bill, it was not long ago when I said Michael Annett is 8.8 seconds behind our race leader. And now he's in jeopardy of going a lap down.
It is incredible the difference here that new tires make. Now, obviously, Joey Logano has proven to have the fastest car this race. So you combine that with fresher tires, and it's pretty ugly for the field.
Yes, definitely for the field. As Joey Logano is working his way around lap traffic, and pretty much now everyone is lap traffic for Joey Logano, as there are only 2 cars on the lead lap, he and Michael Annett.
Michael Annett is about a straightaway ahead of Joey Logano right now. But the way Joey Logano is going, there's Michael Annett coming off turn 4. Joey Logano is
we've got a problem. Yellow flag has come out. This will be our 10th caution of the day. That is the 14 of Ted Bayaval Olofsky. I love the guy's name, honestly.
That's good news for Matt Hawkins, because Matt will be the lucky dog, the Aaron's Lucky Dog recipient. So we will restart this race with 3 cars on the lead lap.
Take another look.
I think it's Olszewski. I think it's Olszewski.
Yeah. What did I say?
Something like that.
Completely different. It's still not enough vowels in today. But this is Ted spinning around, bringing out our 10th caution of the day.
Does not make any contact with the inside or the outside wall, but we will only have we won't have a very busy pit road this go around unless it's a quickie yellow, because we only have 2 cars on the lead lap.
Matt Hawkins getting the Aaron's Lucky Dog. Yes, Matt Hawkins has scored 3rd right now in this race, and he will get his lap back. Joey Logano, he's decided to come on to pit road. Well,
why not?
Michael Annett would be the only other lead lap car, and he's not even to pit road yet, but he will make his way onto pit road, so he will get fresh tires as well. Wendy.
All right, Joey Logano taking it pretty easy out there right now. Now, this set of tires going onto the car is the first set of stickers that he's had for the day. He said, do not touch the car. I don't want a whole lot of changes done to it. They have stuck to their game plan. Yesterday in happy hour, they tested how many laps they could go on a set of tires. They pulled that strategy off early on in the race, and now it's 4 fresh sticker tires for Joey Logano, and they're going to have plenty of tires for the end of the race.
see Michael Annette in the number 28 having work done. I've got a great stat for you, Phil.
I've got it too, but go ahead.
Russell, thank you. I just want to say thanks to Russell. The race winner has lapped the field 15 times here at Rockingham in the Cup Series. And the last time, who was it?
Dale Yarborough.
In 1982.
That's right.
I love Russell. Let's go back down to Jim Trado.
Awaiting Kenny Schrader's 4 Winds Motor Coach Dodge as he comes down pit road. Crew Chief Donnie Richardson calls out. There's a car in front of you. Nice and easy. 4 tires, guys, on Schrader's car. Last time down pit road, Kenny Schrader and the crew took fuel only. So this is a much-needed stop for these guys to get back into contention. We mentioned all the cars that got a lap down. Schrader certainly wants to be back amongst the hunt. And again, tires going on at a much-needed time for Kenny Schrader down on this end of pit road.
You know, Jim, that's the bad part about this deal. You know, Kenny Schrader and Donnie Richardson decided to gamble, keep the old tires on to try to save them for the end, and that got them lapped.
Yeah.
Now, Kenny's got a great race car, and he'll be eligible for the Aaron's Lucky Dog here potentially later on. But, you know, had he put tires on in that most recent pit stop, then he would not have got a lap down. So that's why Joey Logano was able to get so many guys a lap down, is because a lot of them had older tires on. But nothing to take away from the incredible job that team, Venerini Motorsports with Joey Logano, has done this race. But, hey, we've got a long way to go. We've got exactly 100 laps to go in this race.
Yep, 100 to go from Rockingham Speedway, former North Carolina Speedway here in Rockingham, North Carolina. The Rock, famous for abrasive racing surface and hard on tire. Right back with more. Welcome back to the Carolina 500 from Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Beautiful day for racing here. When we started this race, about 75 degrees, almost blue skies. Now some clouds have rolled into the area, but really hasn't dampened any of the spirits of anybody in attendance here today, or Joey Logano really putting on quite a performance for us today.
Well, this is a very much an indication of the future, because Joey Logano has been talked about for about 3 years now, as you talked earlier about as a 15-year-old, and you know, he's on the fast track. He's going to be in the Nationwide Series here at the end of this month, and he's got a great future ahead of him.
Well, we talk about All-Stars. Let's talk about the All-Star weekend. It's almost upon us. It all starts with the Pit Crew Challenge, May 15th, 9 a.m. Eastern. The following night, it's the Craftsman Truck Series. They are live in action on speed beginning at 7:30 p.m. Then, of course, the main event, 13 days away, Sprint All-Star Race on Saturday, May 17th. Again, Lowe's Motor Speedway, the site, the walls are yellow. They are waiting for that excitement to take place.
And it's home for 90% of these teams.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone loves to go to Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte. And what 2 big weeks we have there. And it's going to be a great all-star weekend on speed.
Have you got some tickets? I got a bunch of people around the area that want to go. And got any?
I'll give you a deal on them.
Will you? A deal?
Yeah, list plus 10%.
Well, that's only fair. They still remain under caution here at Rockingham. Let's look back at how this race got underway and what we have encountered on the way. To start the race off, it was Tony Stewart Smoke throwing the green flag to get us underway.
Early on, we have an incident coming off turn number 2. A.J. Hendrickson gets turned around, and then the chain reaction follows, damaged a number of the cars that started right up front in this race.
One of those being the 2 of Scott Speed. You see the hard hit there. A lot of damage to the right front. He has made it back out onto the racetrack, but too much damage for him to be competitive.
There's Taylor Malson, the 4 car, and Patrick Shelter getting together. Unfortunately, Michael Phelps gets the worst of the situation as he hits the inside wall.
Another problem coming out of turn number 2. Ken Butler, the 3rd, into the wall.
Got turned around coming off turn number 2. We talked about turn number 2 being the trouble spot early on. There's a pass for the lead, Joe Logano, who has dominated this race. Has parlayed some pretty good pit strategy. He had fresher tires right there than Matt Hawkins. Easily able to take the lead, and then lapped all but the 2nd place car. But Matt Hawkins now has got back on the lead lap because of the lucky dog. And he is now the 3rd car on the lead lap, but he has to restart this race at the tail end of the longest line.
Green flag back in the air. 3 cars on the lead lap. Joey Logano in front of Michael Annette, and the 39 of Matt Hawkins. And the 31 of Austin Dillon. The 99 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is your top 5.
We're going to have a tremendous race among Austin Dillon and Ricky Stenhouse, Chad McCumbee, Kenny Schrader, Matt Carter, all trying to get in position to get that lucky dog. They want to be the first car one lap down when the caution flag comes out so they can get that free pass and get back in contention.
The highest scored lap down car is the recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog. That it again is new to the 2008 season for the ARCA Re Series. You used to have to race your way back onto the lead lap, but Aaron's has been generous and they're giving drivers a lap back now. But I'll tell you what, somebody needs to give Mike Lynette something to help out, because Joey Logano is pulling away from him as well.
Yeah, he has already opened up about a 2.5 lead right now on our second place car of Michael Lynette.
Tell you what, we cannot talk enough about the excitement and the electricity that was in the air before the start of this race, Friday at practice, Saturday during qualifying and happy hour. Everyone was walking around just in amazement and excitement of coming back to the Rockingham Speedway. And the guy who made it all happen is on headset with us, Andy Hillenberg. We'll turn your microphone up so you can actually be heard too.
There we go.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. What a weekend. You know, really proud of our staff, proud of the racing community for supporting us, and just can't say enough about the local community. And, you know, we've got probably a little over half the stands filled up here, and we're going to start gradually filling those up, you know, basically building this place up one rock at a time.
Well, you spread the word. Obviously, they're going to see what's going on here with the ARCA Re Series and the Carolina 500, starting 50 cars here. I mean, this has been very exciting. And we get to see a kid like Joey Logano and what he has been able to do, put into this Venerini Motorsports car.
Oh, he's putting on a definite driving exhibition out there today, and it's really neat to see. And I mean, it's been good competition all day long. And I mean, they were some of the spotters I was hearing on the scanner there. It was 3 wide on lap 1. It was really awesome.
Now, you had a couple cars in the field here. Chad McCumbee was looking very good here as of late in this race.
Yeah, Chad's running well, and you know, he got up front there for a little while, and Brian Silas, he got a couple bad breaks there early, and you know, he's still hanging in there, and hopefully we can get him up inside the top 20.
There's Chad right there in that 10 car. That's one of your cars. Ricky Stenhouse, the 99, Kenny Schrader, the 52. Chad right now is being shown in the 6th spot. We were just talking just before you walked up, Andy, how we've got a tremendous race back here from 4th back to about 8th or 9th to try to get in position to get that Aaron's Lucky Dog.
Yes, exactly, and that's really, I think, in the end of the race, usually there's 2, 3 cautions, and I mean, that could bring 2 or 3 guys back in the fold here.
And fresh tires. Obviously, you get a guy who gets back on the lead lap and has fresh tires, you throw his name right back into the hat as far as in the mix for the win in here.
It's all timing and brakes here, and I mean, the toughest guys still get to the front somehow, some way, and you know, that's why the great drivers always love racing here. Tough drivers love tough tracks.
I know you've been busy today walking around at various points, but you know, Joey Logano ran 101 laps from pit stop to pit stop, and those 75 of those were green flag laps on those tires, and he was still running 3rd against guys with fresher tires. So it's what a great job.
A big tip of the cap to Hoosier there. I mean, everybody was concerned, obviously, coming in, and you know, it's working out really well, and I think that we've got a good base here for our inaugural Carolina 500, and we're going to make it bigger and better every year.
Wendy Venerini.
Hey, I had a question for Andy. I know you've done everything in your power to make this a fantastic show, but allergy sufferers will enjoy this story. When we all got to the track on Thursday, there was a slight problem with the pollen, and you had an innovative way on how to clean the racetrack, didn't you, Andy?
Well, we've got a few track secrets already, so we'll leave it at that.
There you have it. You're going to have to figure that out. Pollen and a track secret. Okay.
Ricky Stenhouse leads Kenny Schrader. That's a battle for the 6th spot. Right now, Austin Dillon is the 4th place car. He's the one in position for the Aaron's Lucky Dog if the caution flag were to come out.
I'm completely intrigued. Pollen and what?
Yeah, I got you going there, don't I?
I've got to know how did you clean the racetrack that pollen sufferers aren't going to be inflicted.
That's like the old commercials there, ancient secret. So
okay,
we're you know, picking up a little bit as we go, and you know, I want to ask you guys, what did you think of our initial our ceremonies and our first couple laps there? I was really excited. I mean, still getting goosebumps thinking about it.
Well, we talked about earlier, we showed a little video of the dedication of the tower for our brother Benny and our family. We were very, very appreciative of that. And, you know, great. We've got Ricky Rudd down there. We talked about the honorary pace lap that Ricky did, and Bobby and Donnie Allison were here, and you had Smoke waving the green flag, and Zippy was driving the pace cars. So a lot of support from the NASCAR community here for this ARCA race.
And you know what's even neater than that, Phil, is they're all still here. They're all down there still watching the race, and I mean, they wanted to be here for the return of the Rock, and I think that everybody that missed it, I think, you know, we'll get them back here next year.
Well, and David Reagan joined us earlier on the broadcast, and he said, you know what, I'm going to go sit in the stands. I want to watch this race. This is a great place to watch a race. We had, and you weren't able to see this, but on our broadcast, we had Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton and Bobby Labonte all talking about what a great racing facility this is and how they're envious of the ARCA Re Mex Series being able to run on the track.
Well, I like to hear that, and you know, we're going to just keep doing our best, and you know, we've added a third race now, our little Polar Bear 150 on January the 1st, so our racing schedule's up to 3 events a year, and we're just going to work really hard. I love this sport very much, and I want to just continue to do everything that I can do to bring great racing action to the fans.
Well, he's done a spectacular job. Let's head back down pit road. Jim Trano.
Yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys an update on Ricky Stenhouse and the progress he's made, and he has been fighting a tight condition all afternoon long. They've been battling it with a wedge adjustment. The last time they came down pit road, they did more adjustments to the car. It's now responding. 5 laps ago, as crew chief Jeff Lumpy came on and said, hey guys, we're running this fast as the leaders. Ricky, good job. Then the spotter chimed in and said, maybe try running 3 and 4 a bit higher. So Stenhouse, one of the young drivers here today, making the longest ever race in ARCA. Their longest race in their entire racing careers, make it work at this point in the race, which says a lot about the patience of young Ricky Stenhouse.
He's really done a great job. Finished second last week at Kansas City. Top 10 finish at Salem, which is a very, very difficult racetrack. Andy can allude to that. I know Andy's run Salem, but Ricky Stenhouse is one of the has a bright future in this sport, along with a lot of guys in this field.
I think so. I mean, that's one of the neat things about ARCA. You've got guys that have made their home here and enjoy being here, and it's great, tough racing. And then, you know, the kids get to come in and measure themselves. I mean, you know, against the regulars, Frank Kimmel, 9-time champion, you know, Kenny Schrader's joining us today. They're out there measuring up. Where do I stack against these guys?
And looking very impressive, as is the entire facility. So Andy Hillenberg, thank you so much for joining us up here, and thank you for allowing us to come back to the Rock.
Well, thanks for having us, and really, really do appreciate it.
Great job, Andy.
Andy Hillenberg, owner and promoter here at Rockingham Speedway, the Rock, formerly known as North Carolina Speedway, and now it's taking on a whole new look here as the ARCA Re Mex Series in their 5th race of the 2008 season is putting on a show. And the show spotlight has been on the 25 of Joey Logano. Brian Silas carries our camera around the racetrack, watching out for Logano as he makes his move to the front again.
Rockingham's definitely a tough place to survive. You know, a lot of cars attrition's going to take its apart on a lot of cars, I think.
It's still the same old Rockingham. It looks blacker because of the sealer, but there's just absolutely no grip out there whatsoever.
We're just eating up tires left and right, which I guess is just the way Rockingham's always been.
You go out there and you make a first good lap, and your second lap, you know, you fall off a half a second, and you just sit back and wonder what the heck are you going to do for 312 laps, you know, with 6 sets of tires.
I think this race is going to be an exercise in patience, really. I mean, I think that there's not going to be a lot of sense in racing real hard the first 150, 200, 250 laps even.
I heard the word patience come up there, and I think the only one who's really has patience today is Joey Logano, but he can be patient now because he's pretty much about to lap the field.
So he's just put Frank Kimmel a second lap down now, and Frank's running in the 10th spot, but we saw Jeremy Clements on the apron of the racetrack, so obviously he had a problem. And while we were away, another car right around the top 10, Clay Rogers, made an unscheduled pit stop.
So that attrition that Justin Marks mentioned as well coming into play. The one of Tom Hessert.
Tom's being shown in the 11th position. Tom, in his first year, there's Jeremy Clements on pit road. Tom has had all 4 top 15 finishes this year. Great start. Jim, what's going on with Jeremy Clements?
The car's very tight. They actually got involved in the practice crash on Friday, and they took out the radiator and took out the oil cooler and such. So they're just checking underneath. They shut the motor down. The car, he said, handling-wise was tight, but now they're looking at the left side of the engine. Now they're going to the right, so obviously an issue with the motor here on Clements number 3. These guys are battling back again. As I mentioned, they thought about going to a backup car. They had a decent piece. They're in the top 10 to this point, and now looking at the back side of the right side of the motor, guys. They now just set up the radio, blew it up.
Tough break for Jeremy Clements. Always runs competitively when he runs here in the ARCA Re Mex Series. Does not run the full schedule, but always count on him being in contention, but tough break for Jeremy.
We touched a little bit on Tom Hessert.
Yeah, the Mako Ford out of Andy Belmont stable. You see right there all 4 top 15 finishes, including that great run in 6th at Daytona. And I was talking to Tom and his dad, who actually ran here in the Busch Series back in the day. So his father has a little bit of experience here at Rockingham, but obviously the first time here for Tom.
Out of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Jim Trado.
Yeah, I just talked to Andy Belmont a moment ago. I said, what have you been working on throughout the day? Hessert seems to be pretty comfortable now. He said, you know what? We had a good car before the race. It's been good throughout, but Andy Belmont, being the veteran, said, man, you know what? I got to tell you, I screwed up. We should have pitted. Kind of in that scenario, a lot of teams got caught in when Logano had that long stretch. Belmont thinks they have a top contending car, but track situation and staying out and getting lapped to put them a little bit behind the 8 ball. But right now, he's very happy with how the car is handling. They've been adjusting with a bit of a wedge, bit of track bar, just small adjustments for Tom Hessert in his first trip here at the Rock.
One of the problems that is facing Ken Schrader, as he has worked so diligently to get to be the first car 1 lap down, the problem is that Matt Hawkins is not keeping up his end of the deal here, because he's not able to stay up to the same pace as Joey Logano, and if he gets put a lap down, then he will be the recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog once again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But remember, Matt Hawkins had to restart this race from the tail end of the longest line because he got our last Aaron's Lucky Dog. So that's why he started out probably 10 seconds behind, but he's being shown only about 3 to 4 seconds in front of our leader, Joey Logano, and that would put him a lap down.
Again, we've completed 252 laps. We're on lap 253, and the caution has come out, which is going to be very good for Ken Schrader because he will now be on the lead lap. We're hearing it's from debris on the front stretch, bringing out this, the 11th caution of the day.
That's Brian Silas right there, limping around the racetrack. With his onboard, there's some smoke trailing behind that Nordtrack Shell Rotella T Ford. Looks like he's flat-sided that car a little bit of damage to the left front as well. So tough break for Brian Silas. He was being shown up in the top 15 to 20.
Glad Andy's not up here with us now. If he would have had to have seen that firsthand. Yes. Andy Hillenberg, owner of this car.
See all the damage to the right side of that car, but bad news for Brian Silas. Great news for Kenny Schrader, yeah. And as well Matt Hawkins, right. Because now Matt will be able to restart right up in the top 3 positions. Depends on if they come down to pit road and how they come off pit road, but Matt Hawkins now is back in contention.
Phil, if you've got tires and you're one of the top 3 right now, either Joey Logano or Michael Annett or Matt Hawkins, would you not want to come down? I mean, we've got less than 60 laps of racing that's going to be going, so 60 laps?
If I had 2 sets of tires left, I would put a set on now. If I only had 1 set of tires left, I would not put those tires on now, because I'm telling you, with 20 to 30 laps, with so few cars on the lead lap, with 20 to 30 laps to go, if the caution comes out and you have a spare set of tires, you'll kill it.
So right now, the Aaron's Lucky Dog goes to Ken Schrader. He gets back on the lead lap. That will make it 4 cars on the lead lap. And here comes Joey Logano. Joey Logano looks like he's going to come back onto pit road. They will do some work to the 25, as does the 28 of Michael Annett. So 1 and 2 are on pit road. Let's go down to Wendy Benarini.
Bill Parsons, you make my job easy down here. That's exactly what's going on with the 25. They have 2 sets of tires left, so why not come down, get a fresh set right now. Now, these are another set of stickers we're putting on. You notice we're going to make a track bar adjustment right here. Joey Logano, slight adjustment, but he's been fairly happy with the car. Michael Annett also coming down pit road. tires we have in our pit stall. We still have one more set if you need it.
That's a great call by Billy Venturini to bring Joey in. There's no sense taking those new tires home with you. They're not going to do any good in the shop.
Well, and I think the best call of the day has to be him staying out those 101 laps on that one set of tires and still running competitively. I mean, he was as good as anybody on the racetrack, and he had gone a long run, so he was able to save these tires for now.
Yeah, what's impressive is 75 green flag laps on that set of tires. That was really, really impressive. And as you mentioned, he didn't fall back, only to about third spot. So a great job the entire race by Billy and the entire team, and Joey certainly in behind the steering wheel.
Jim Trado.
Standing by in Ricky Stenhouse's pit, number 99 coming down pit road, getting called to his pit down the front stretch here. They're going to make an adjustment. The car got a bit too free in that last segment, so the laps they have in it, Ricky knows what he wants. Jeff Campy just made a call to go back with some air pressure changes, a half a pound back in to get this car back a little bit tighter than it was before. The 99 is now down, and so is the 46 of Matt Carter. They're coming in as well. They're actually going to go right rear jack down one screw, and they're going to go up on the pounds of pressure in the right rear tires to get that car handling a bit better. That car was bad. They got it back to neutral. Now they're adjusting a little bit to get some more speed out of that Stein seat Ford.
Matt Carter took over the points lead coming into this race after he was able to get by Justin Allgaier and Frank Kimmel.
Kenny Schrader was also on pit road. He had to pit with the lap down cars, but he will get to drive all the way back around the field, and he is putting his new set of tires on.
Now, the one thing, he will do the same thing that Matt Hawkins did last time. He'll have to start from the tail end of the longest line.
Yeah, Kenny will have to actually have another caution to really get back in contention. He will be back on the lead lap, but he needs another caution to gain all that track position up.
It's still Joey Logano in front of the field. Michael Lynette and Matt Hawkins 2 and 3, and Ken Schrader, welcome to the lead lap. Here as we have about 50 laps of racing to go from the Rock. Welcome back to the Rock, ARCA Re Mex Series, their 5th race of the 2008 season. We have completed 258 laps. It's Joey Logano back in front. He's been dominant today on all aspects of the race. He's been able to lap everyone but 5th at this point. And actually, at one point in time, there were only 2 cars on the lead lap. It was he and Michael Lynette. But because of the Aaron's Lucky Dog, we've been able to add 2 cars to that lead lap number. And so Ken Schrader also throwing his name onto the lead lap list. So we have 4 on the lead lap now.
Yeah, going to have another tremendous battle to be in position for the next possibly Aaron's Lucky Dog. We've got Ricky Stenhouse running 5th right now. He leads that group. Austin Dillon, the 31, the 46 of Matt Carter, the 10 of Chad McCumbee. Those are the only 4 cars right now being shown 1 lap down.
Jim Trado.
Just checked in with Donnie Richardson, Kenny Schrader's crew chief, and I said, how many have left? He said, we have 1 full set. And I said, man, this is not Toledo, but I imagine the tires would help you if you got a caution late in the going. He said, man, we got another set. Let's burn them up and use them. We need the tires, and we know it can make a difference. So that's the story there. And we're talking about Ricky Stenhouse, the lead candidate for the Aaron's Lucky Dog. He also has a set of stickers still remaining in his pit box.
Field comes out of turn number 4. You see there's 3 cars on the outside line. Those are all lead lap cars. And then Ken Schrader also on the lead lap. Green flag in the air. Joey Logano and Michael Lynette pulling away early on this restart.
Looked like those guys were lonely in the outside line, didn't it?
Yeah. Quite a few more cars on the inside line than the outside line here, as outside line cars are the only lead lap cars. Again, Ken Schrader had to start from the tail end of the longest line, which was the lap down cars. We'll see if Logano can continue to pull away. It looks like this time Michael Lynette's able to stay a little bit closer to him on this restart.
Yeah, it's been like that. The short runs, Joey Logano has not really been able to drive away from these guys, but the longer they go, the better his car seems to get, or the less his car falls off, and he's able to open up huge leads. But right now, Michael Lynette's looking pretty good, but again, Joey Logano's been strong all day long.
How do you see this? I mean, Martin talked so highly of this kid when he was 15 years old. How do you see this kind of talent? I mean, right now, consistency is what is really impressing me on this racetrack.
Yeah, sometimes there are drivers that you just have that natural ability. I'm sure they saw it with Jeff Gordon. and I'm sure they've seen it with Tony Stewart, and there's a lot of drivers, but obviously Mark saw something in Joey Logano very, very early, and it's coming true. And here's Michael Annett right here doing a great job. He's running second right now. Wendy, what's his situation?
Well, he has the same amount of tires left as Joey Logano. Now, he was the other car earlier in the race that went 100 laps on pit road before coming in. He took that long stretch from lap 115 to 212, so he has 4 fresh tires left in his pit stall as well.
Well, we know 3 right now of the 4 guys on the lead lap have 1 set of tires. Joey Logano, Ken Schrader, and the 28 of Michael Annett. Still haven't heard about Matt Hawkins with a 39 car.
Right, Matt Hawkins just behind this 28. You see him going through turns 1 and 2 now as they work their way through the turn. And Matt Hawkins would be the other car on the lead lap. Only 4 on the lead lap. Joey Logano pulling away from Michael Annett already after this most recent restart.
Ricky Stenhouse continues to be the car in 5th, which is the first car 1 lap down. So he is in position right now, if the caution were to come out, to get the next Aaron's lucky dog.
Matt Hawkins, we had the question if he's got another set of tires. Have you got an answer for us, Wendy?
Answer is, oh, there we go. The answer is yes. He does have 1 more full set of stickers left in the 39 pit stall. So the 28, 39, and 25 on my end of pit road all have a set of tires left.
So anytime the caution flag comes out now, they're going to come onto pit road.
I don't know. They may want to wait. They may, you know, during a commercial break, we were eavesdropping on Billy Venturini, and he said he would love to see the caution come out around lap 295, right, which would give them, you know, a little bit less than 20 laps to go. So that's when he would like to see the caution come out. But that's the call that they're going to have to make. If the caution were to come out right now and you put another set of tires on and the caution comes out 20 laps later, you could be in trouble. There's Billy right there calling the shots. There's his mom, Kathy. Yeah, Mom Kathy right there. But what a great job they've done this entire weekend. But that's the tough call to make, is when you put that last set on.
Trying to think back, the last time Venturini Motorsports was in Victory Lane would have been with Billy at the wheel, and I believe it was either Salem. It was a short track.
I'm
2 years ago.
I'm thinking maybe 2006.
Salem 2000. I think it was 2006. Crew chief Billy Venturini wheeling that car. So Venturini Motorsports looking to get back into Victory Lane, this time at the Rock.
Remember, Billy's dad, Bill, was an ARCA champion, former ARCA champion, so they've had a lot of success in this series over the years.
One of the families that have really grown up with this series. Michael Annett, again, holding on to the 2nd spot. Matt Hawkins just behind him in 3rd. 4th is Ken Schrader. 5th, 1 lap down. Ricky Stenhouse still holding on to that transfer position if it's possible to get the Aaron's lucky dog. That has to happen before 10 laps to go in the race. Once we're within 10 laps, they do not give back a lap to the lucky dog. But if we continue that long, there might only be 1 car on the lead lap. Joey Logano has put on a clinic here at Rockingham. Welcome back. It is the 12th caution of the day, and Ricky Stenhouse is going to be able to grab a lap back to make it 5 cars on the lead lap from Rockingham.
Hey, and Michael Annett is on pit road now. Is he going to gamble, Wendy? Is he going to put his last set of tires on now?
Yep, that's the case for Michael Annett. Lap 275, going to put those 4 stickers that they have left behind pit road. Now they are taking a chance because some of those other guys, those other 3 guys that are on their own lap, are saving their set of tires. Jim, what do you have on your end of pit road?
Kenny Schrader is coming down for that last set of Hoosier radial tires. Donnie Richardson, the crew chief, did tell me that they did run the car hard to get in position for the lucky dog before that last segment. They're now working on the right side, a little bit slow. They're trying to get the left sides up now. Bit of a delay on Schrader's pit, but he has the obviously advantage of only 5 cars now on the lead lap. They're putting on brand spanking new rubber for Schrader here to run to the finish. Crew chief Donnie Richardson made no other changes.
I think it's a great gamble by these guys, both Michael Annett and Kenny Schrader. Joey Logano has not been able to be touched this entire race. Now, if we don't get another caution flag, then Kenny Schrader and Michael Annett are going to have fresher tires than does Joey Logano. Matt Hawkins now is giving up the second spot to come down pit road. He may have saw these other two guys do it, said, hey, we have to do it as well. So Matt Hawkins now is on pit road. Wendy, what's going on? What was the decision-making process for Billy in the 25 pits?
Well, it looks like Matt Hawkins is going to hit pit road, but the 25 of Joey Logano is staying out. They said absolutely no way, according to crew chief Billy Venturini. We're going to save that last set of tires if we need to. But right now, everyone else seems to be taking those fresh stickers right now.
Well, and you made the perfect comment, Phil. If another caution doesn't come out, it will be very difficult for Joey Logano to hold off guys like Ken Schrader and Matt Hawkins and Michael Annett.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, we didn't run very long. We only ran probably about 16, 18 green flag laps on that set of tires. We saw Joey Logano was very, very good with a lot more laps on his tires. So his car is so good. You know, he's the only guy here that has a chance with 15 to 20 laps on his tires to run with the guys with new tires. And we're going to go, you know, we've got, what, 36 laps to go right now, 35 laps to go in this race. So there, you know, there's a potential of Joey Logano being able to race with these guys with these tires. So that's what's going to be interesting.
Our Aaron's lucky dog went to the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So he's able to be back on the lead lap. That puts 5 cars on the lead lap. They'll all line up, with the exception of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., on the outside. And so there'll be 4 cars on the outside. 3 of those will have fresher tires than Joey Logano, who's going to lead us to the green flag.
Yeah, and we were eavesdropping on Jeff Campy, Ricky Stenhouse's crew chief. He said, we're not going to put our tires on now because he's going to have to go to the tail end of the longest line. Right. There's no sense using up those new tires. Wait till the next caution comes out. There's a 59 Nick Tucker right there. He was penalized for leaving a wrench in the window to make an adjustment, so he had to come back down to pit road to take that wrench out.
Pace cars off the racetrack. Green flag back in the air at Rockingham.
We're going to find out real quick how much those new tires are going to help those other guys.
Michael Annett right on the back bumper of Joey Logano. He has fresh tires, as does the 39 of Matt Hawkins and the 52 of Ken Schrader. Annett coming up hard now on that 25, looking to take the lead away from Joey Logano.
There's absolutely nothing Joey Logano can do right now. All he has to do is run his race. Right now, he knows that he's going to have another caution flag unless these guys, when the new gets off their tires, then they may be equal. Right now, he just needs to run his race like he has been this entire race.
Ken Schrader on the bottom of the racetrack. That's for second, trying to take the position away from Joey Logano.
And this is an illustration of what tires mean at a place like Rockingham.
Joey Logano so strong this entire race. Now he hasn't come onto pit road for his final set of tires. They're gambling, expecting another caution.
Hoping for another caution.
Hoping for another caution. Billy Venturini, when this caution flag came out, said there is no way we're coming down now for that set of tires as the battle for the lead continues. Ken Schrader on the inside.
Side-by-side battle for the lead. Kenny right on the bottom of the racetrack like he's done so many times here.
Coming out of 4, Ken Schrader going across the start-finish line just a nose in front of that 28. He led that lap here at Rockingham. Ken Schrader has 51 starts at this racetrack and has never won. Those are mixed between 39 Cup starts, 12 nationwide starts. Hey, you've got 31 starts at this racetrack, and a best finish of second against Terry Gant back in, what, 84?
Long time ago.
82, 84, what was it?
89, I think is when.
See, I was close.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a new leader. Kenny Schrader's leading this race, but Joey Logano got back by Michael Annett for the second spot.
Joey Logano. And as the tires start to balance out between the guys who've got the new, they rub the new off of them, and Joey Logano running on his older tires, it might level the playing field.
It will level the playing field some, but Joey Logano will always have 15 more laps on his tires than these guys until he take them off. But is his car good enough to overcome that?
Well, we've got to wait to find out. 29 laps remaining at the Rock. Right now, it's Ken Schrader leading young Joey Logano around Rockingham Speedway. Fresh tires versus youth right now on the racetrack. Ken Schrader trying to hold off Joey Logano. Logano looking to the inside.
Great. Great battle here with Kenny Schrader with so much experience at this racetrack. Joey Logano's had such a good car. He's got about 15 more green flag laps on his tires, but he's still battling Kenny Schrader for the lead.
Right on the bottom of the racetrack, Joey Logano hugging that white line. He gets back by Schrader. Let's see if Schrader has anything for him.
That's not respecting your elders right there.
Wow. His spotter, Joey Logano's spotter, said that's a veteran they're racing with right there.
Such a smart race Joey Logano has driven, way wise beyond his years. Has not punished this car at all. Obviously, he let those guys get by that had fresh tires. He worked his way back by Michael Annett, and then calmly, diligently worked his way back by Kenny Schrader for the lead here inside of 25 laps to go.
Yeah, and he was riding right on Ken Schrader's bumper for probably 5 or 6 laps, just waiting for the opportunity when he knew he was able to get by him. So he didn't rush it. It was very impressive. And now it's Joey Logano, Ken Schrader, Michael Annett, Matt Hawkins, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. running in the 5th spot. Austin Dillon with a very impressive performance as well today in the 6th position. Chad McCumbee is 7th. Then Matt Carter 8th. Tom Hessert III is 9th. And Frank Kimmel is 10th.
We still have 19 laps to go. So if the caution flag were to come out right now, that would put Ricky Stenhouse back in contention, because he would be able to catch up the track position he lost by being the Aaron's lucky dog. We know he has another set of tires left. We know Joey Logano has another set of tires left. So Kenny Schrader, Michael Annett, and Matt Hawkins would probably be left out there on their older tires.
This time by the start-finish line for Joey Logano. He's got a second over Ken Schrader now. 4 seconds over Michael Annett, and 5 seconds over Matt Hawkins. So now starting to tack on that distance, which we've seen him do all day long here at the Rock. Joey Logano has really been impressive in his ARCA Re-Max Series debut, driving for Benarini Motorsports and the Joe Gibbs Racing Oil, the sponsor on the 25. Joey Logano, is he going to be able to hold on till the end of this race? We're going to find out. Difference between Joey Logano and Ken Schrader now about 1.5 seconds, as he is running extremely strong on 15-lap older tires than what Ken Schrader has on his race car.
We had a great battle for third between the 28 of Michael Annett and the 39 of Matt Hawkins. Just a few moments ago, this was the battle for third spot. Michael Annett is in the 28. See him gets a little bit too high, bounces off that fence. That allowed Matt Hawkins in that 39 car to drive by him. You see right at the bottom of your screen to take over the 3rd spot.
So Matt Hawkins moves up to 3rd. Michael Annett with a bruised and battered number 28 race car has dropped back to the 4th spot. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. still holding on to 5th. Those are the only 5 cars that are on the lead lap here at Rockingham, as we're closing in on the final 10 laps from the Rock.
Joey Logano is trying to join Matt Hawkins as being 2 guys that have won in their very first series start here in 2008.
Matt Hawkins moves up to 3rd, but hasn't been able to have anything for Joey Logano, as is no one else on the racetrack has had anything for Joey Logano. We got a car stopped on the racetrack in turn number 3. Now really all that's going to do, obviously, bring out the caution, but that's going to tighten this field up for a shootout here at the end. And can it hurt Joey Logano with more laps on his tires?
Well, I think now, gosh, I don't know, because we know Ricky Stenhouse has tires left. So Ricky Stenhouse, and we're inside of 10 laps to go, so I don't think we will have an Aaron's lucky dog. Right. So if Joey Logano stays on the racetrack to maintain the lead, because he knows he can beat the 52 and the 39 and the 28, well, then he's going to have the 99 with fresh tires. So what's Billy going to do?
Well, inside of 9 laps, this is what I guess they say they pay the guys the big bucks for right here. Will Billy bring Joey Logano onto pit road to get 4 fresh tires? They've got him in their pit stall. Or will he leave him on the racetrack? Pit road is still closed.
Still closed, so we get another 45 seconds to wonder about it.
That's the question. Now, Ricky Stenhouse, I mean, if I'm Ricky Stenhouse, I'm on pit road.
Well, he's going to come down pit road, but he has to wait till it opens. But we know he's coming down pit road.
He's the last car on the lead lap. Let's go down to Wendy Venerini.
Well, the 25 of Joey Logano looks like he'll be coming around pit road this next time by. Pit road was closed. Now, there's 4 fresh tires here. He's the only car on pit road with tires left. But the question becomes, just as Billy asked Joey on the radio a moment ago, do you think you could pass those 3 or 4 cars in 5 laps?
What was the answer? Did he say yes?
There was no answer.
Uh-oh. The big question then, will the fresh tires get him back by, well, it probably is going to be 3 cars, because if the 99 comes onto pit road, which we would expect he will do, Ricky Stenhouse will follow Joey Logano onto pit road as pit road is now open. Let's go down to Jim Trado.
And mentor Tony Stewart got on the radio and reminded Jeff Campy down here in the pits to make sure the tire pressures are up on his brand new set. The final set for Ricky Stenhouse. He comes down pit road as the 5th car and final car in the lead lap, the last car to get those fresh tires. As he comes into pit road, they're not going to make any drastic changes. They're going to let Ricky run these tires off. They didn't want to make any major adjustments, just slight air pressure to get the car feeling the way he'd like. And Campy oversees it. He just gave a rah-rah speech, and so did Tony Stewart, saying, guys, let's get this done. And he said, make sure, Ricky, you get caught up and get going good. Wendy?
55 of Joey Logano is getting his 4 fresh tires. Now, Joey said he can definitely pass those 3 or 4 cars as he needs to in 5 green flag laps. Now, the question is, he didn't speed off pit road. That was the only concern, and he didn't.
It's hard to speed off pit road when you're in pit stall number 1. You really have to be going quick to get out of there quick. We're going to slip away to one more break, but we'll see the checkered flags when we come back to the Rock. Welcome back. About to get the green flag from Rockingham. The final 5 laps here at the Rock. Now again, fresh tires for both the 99 and the 25.
Yeah, I don't think 52 of Ken Schrader is going to be any match for those fresh tires, as well as Michael Annett and Matt Hawkins. We'll see what happens. Getting ready to restart this thing. Inside of 10 to go.
Ken Schrader out in front of the field. Is he going to be able to hold off the 25 of Joey Logano and the 99? Look at the 99 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
There's a 25 right there. Going to move to the inside of Matt Hawkins. That's a battle for second.
That was the restart of the race. Here comes the final lap. Joey Logano was able to get by the 52 of Ken Schrader. His first ever ARCA Re Mex Series start. He is victorious from Rockingham Speedway.
Awesome, buddy.
Kenny Schrader finishes second. Ricky Stenhouse gets up to 3rd. Matt Hawkins 4th and Michael Annett 5th. The only 5 cars on the lead lap.
Unbelievable performance by Joey Logano today. Put the entire field almost a lap down. Wendy Venerini.
I never would have guessed that I'd be interviewing my brother as a winning crew chief, getting a kiss and a hug from Dad Bill. Tears are falling here in the pit stall. Hey, I guess you're not so bad at a crew chief after all.
You know, if I really love doing this. I really, as much as I love driving, this was really probably my calling. And I want to thank J.D. Gibbs and Steve D'Souza and Coach Gibbs for just giving us this opportunity. I knew we could do the job, but they just gave us the opportunity. And wow, we put so much into this, and I wanted to win so bad. And wow, what a little talent. And then our strategy worked out. I mean, I drew everything up before we ever got here, and damn, this is nice. This is great.
I bet you were a little bit scared when you had 5 green flag laps and Joey Logano had to pull you through.
Oh, man. No, not a bit. Not a bit. I've worked with this kid for 2 tests and a race now, and he is the best talent I've ever seen, and he's awesome, and he's a wonderful kid. And I also want to thank Harry Davis for getting us in over at Gibbs and talking well about us. And we just try so hard, and I think we've got the team that can beat the Cup teams when they show up, and we did today, and that was really neat.
All right, congratulations, Billy, enjoying the victory as a crew chief. The first time Venturini Motorsports has been back to victory lane since 2006. And guess what, guys? Billy's really going to enjoy this because his twin boys are here for their very first race ever. 2 months old. Luke and Max are going to be in victory lane. I can't wait.
Superstitious race car drivers and racing families. I'm sure they'll have to come to every race now.
Sure, that won't be a problem.
I tell you what, Joey Logano pretty impressive on the racetrack. A very impressive burnout in his first ever ARCA Re Mex Series win. Welcome back to the Rockingham Speedway. Racing is back at Rockingham, North Carolina, and the guy in victory lane celebrating his first ever win in the ARCA Re Mex Series. Let's go down to victory lane and Wendy Venturini.
All right, Joey Logano can climb out his first start in the ARCA Re Mex Series and his first victory here in the ARCA Re Mex Series, coming back at the Rockingham Speedway. The Rock is back, and Joey Logano is here, folks. He is going to be the next superstar of NASCAR. I'm sure Joe Gibbs Racing is watching this guy today. He's getting a hug and a kiss from his dad. His dad, Tom. Tom Logano congratulating Joey. Joey, as you're soaked, oh, your dad's getting the cheerwine bath now. Congratulations to you on your first victory, your first start. Man, the pressure was on and you performed.
Yeah, we had a dominant car all night. I mean, the Billy and the guys here, I mean, they were stout. Since we got here, since the test here, we were one of the strongest cars here, and started the race and pulled away and got tires that long run, about lapped the whole field. So I just can't hand enough to these guys here. They helped me out a lot. Yeah, Joe Gibbs' crew here pit me and kept me out up front every time, so I couldn't ask for anything else here. Good night.
Now, I know you're going to turn 18 in just 3 weeks. You're going to have your first nationwide start. I think we're going to see some more of Joey Logano in NASCAR, aren't we?
Oh, hopefully. We'll get in that Dover start and hopefully be in the same place we're here.
All right, congratulations to Joey Logano. A great way to celebrate his 18th birthday in a couple weeks, giving a hug to Bill and Billy Venturini. A great win for Venturini Motorsport.
Really a testament to, I think, the knowledge and wisdom that Venturini Motorsports brings, obviously, to this series, the ARCA Re Mex Series. As you mentioned, Bill had won a championship here, and the trust that I think Joe Gibbs Racing had in bringing Venturini Motorsports in as far as getting Joey Logano this track time.
Yeah, and that wasn't a situation where Gibbs put Joey Logano in this car and then brought all his people from Joe Gibbs Racing and to do this thing. They left it up to Billy and Bill and all their crew to do this, and I'm certainly they had some advice or whatever, but they really left it up to the Venturinis, and boy did they perform.
Oh, they sure did. Let's take a look back at after the restart. Again, Joey Logano had fresh tires, as did Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and the guys in front of him, there were 3 cars just in front of him. Ken Schrader was the one who took the green flag on the restart first, but it was a strong 4 fresh Hoosier tire, number 25, that was able to just go right on by Ken Schrader.
Yeah, and Billy Venturini never hesitated with a call. As you see, there's our last lap right there. Joey Logano, as he did so many of these laps, leading comfortably, but Billy never hesitated. He wanted to save that last set of tires for the last caution flag. When the caution came out, he said, bring it down pit road. We'll have 5 green flag laps. You know, they felt at this point like they could pass 25 cars if they had to.
They were so strong today, even on the more lapped tires as he crossed the start-finish line for his first ever win in the ARCA Re Mex Series. Just 17 years old, Phil. He doesn't turn 18 until the 24th of this month.
That is incredible. He joins Matt Hawkins to be the 2 guys that have won in the very first series start, joining a pretty exclusive list of people.
This season, it's been 5 different winners in the 5 races for the ARCA Re Mex Series. Joey Logano adds his name to that list. Welcome back. The 5th race of the 2008 season is concluded. The Carolina 500 from the Rockingham Speedway, the Rock, and being won by Joey Logano. They continue to celebrate in victory lane. A tough racetrack to tame, but it was an impressive performance by quite a few drivers. Obviously, Joey Logano, the most impressive. Let's go back down on trackside to Wendy Venturini.
Schrader's already changed out of his uniform. He's quick like that. Man, I thought you were going to get Joey Logano. You got by him, and then he was able to pass you again. The tires issue, there was a tire game out there today.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was about lap 120 or something. I came down pit road, and Joey didn't, and that put us a set behind. I knew he had a set left, and we were in trouble. You know, I would love to have won, but it's neat when the fastest car wins the race, and they deserve to win the race today.
Oh, Oh, well, that's nice of you to say, Schrader. But, hey, I'm glad to see you at an ARCA race because you are a racer's racer. You're racing no matter what day of the week it is.
Well, just trying to make a living. You got to thank Johnny Benson. He came down and ran it Friday for us, and I just got here and qualified it, and he did a good job with it, and it was good. We just didn't have nothing for Joey.
All right, thanks, Schrader. Congrats to Ken Schrader on that second-place finish. Let's head over to Jim Trado.
And Schrader surrounded by the fresh faces of stock car racing here in the ARCA Re Mex Series. 20-year-old Ricky Stenhouse, again a podium finish of sorts, but talk about what you experienced today at the Rock, all the things you had to deal with and the changes to get you to third position.
Yes, sir. We had a good qualifying run there, and a little surprising. Then the guys just worked on the car, had good pit stops, got us up front, had good spotters, I had three good ones up there. Had Eric Peterson, Bobby Hudson, and then Tony Stewart was up there helping me out, just adjusting my line and telling me to calm down every now and then. And, all the guys, had great pit stops, got us up through there. Lumpy made a good call there, left us a set of tires there at the end. And also I talked to Matt Kenseth before I got here, and Carl Edwards. He's really helped me a lot. And, I just can't thank these guys enough for letting me do this.
They got you to the point where you got comfortable here at Rockingham, but talk about that last pit stop and that fresh rubber at the end of the race and how much fun that was.
And it was a blast. I mean, it's like, you go back to sprint car days. You can come in, put a new right rear on, and, it just lights everything up, and it just makes it really fun to drive. And, that's what, Lumpy gets paid to do. Left us a set of tires there at the end, and not everybody had a set left. So, it's tough to stay with the 25. He did a great job, and congratulations to them. We'll take third. Real good points day for us, and we're just going to try to keep it up. Hopefully we can stay in the top 3 every week.
And Ricky Stenhouse will be full-time all season long for Roush Fenway Racing here in the ARCA Re Mex Series. Let's check in with another young gun with Wendy Benarini.
Thanks, Jim. Matt Hawkins, now he won his first race in the series debut in ARCA back in Iowa, and today you come home fourth, another great showing in the ARCA Re Mex Series.
Yeah, we just, we kind of struggled all day. We got the car pretty decent there about halfway, and I got in the wall of 2. I don't know if that, it had to affect it a little bit. We just fought it all day, and great job by everybody. I'd like to thank Janet King, Black Star, Mike Berry, Mitch, and my dad.
What should be said about tire management today? We knew tires were going to be an issue. They ended up being a factor in the race. How much of an advantage were the tires for you when you got them?
Oh, they were huge. It was probably, I don't know, on the stopwatch, probably a second. But, you saw Logano and the 99 get tires there at the end. We just, we should have saved our last set for right there at the end, but we was hoping we didn't have another caution. But, tire management was huge. That was the whole race.
All right, a win in Iowa and fourth here in Rockingham, guys.
Yeah, it's been an impressive 2008 for that number 39 team and Matt Hawkins. Obviously, the win in Iowa. Then coming back here with a top 4 performance. As you see the unofficial results, Joey Logano, the amazing numbers you're going to see on the right side of the screen, I think. 10th place, Frank Kimmel was 2 laps down to Joey Logano.
Great run by Austin Dillon. First ever ARCA Re Max start, finishes 7th. Matt Carter with another top 10. Tom Hessert with another top 10. His second top 10 this year.
We'll be able to see it later, but I would guess Matt Carter's going to hold on to the points lead in the ARCA Re Max Series. Here, 15th, Allie Owens, 6 laps down to the field.
See, Jack Bailey, he had a great race car, but unfortunately got caught up in that incident coming off turn 2 very, very early in the race.
Justin Allgaier was 3rd in points coming in, and now 26 in the final running order here at the Rockingham Speedway because of that transmission issue he had.
Justin Marks finishes 31st. Again, a great car, but I got in trouble that same incident on the backstretch coming off turn 2 early on.
Bobby Gerhardt, 41st in the field. After contending for a championship a year ago, struggling here at the Rock. But that can happen to a lot of people. This is a very, very difficult racetrack.
It really is. But I tell you, that 25 of Joey Logano, he was on the money from the time they unloaded their haulers on Friday.
They had it figured out. Benarini Motorsports, a spectacular job here. Joey Logano, a great job behind the wheel. We'll be right back with more from Rockingham. Let's go down trackside again with Jim Trado.
Caught up with the 5th place finisher, Michael Annette. And Michael, you had a run on Joey. It seemed like you had a car equal to his at times in the race. One of the few really to put up a challenge. Talk about your race performance and coming home 5th.
Well, I tell you what, this race was just a lot of fun, and my guys are awesome. Every track we come to, we have they always know that we're here, and we always have a car that's in contention for the win. But that 25 car, he was flying today, and I was able to get a run on him there on one of those restarts. But maybe might use my stuff up a little bit. But like I said, this was just a lot of fun dicing out there. Just want to thank Pilot Travel Center for being on board again, and we'll go back to the shop and get ready for Kentucky.
You had a dominant car in Daytona, so you know what that feeling is, leading laps and leading almost at will. What did you learn today as a race driver? Did you have any fun out there?
Oh, I had tons of fun. These tracks make you a good driver, Daytona, or when you always have the dominant car, you don't always learn as much. But being back there, coming up through the field, you just learn a lot of car control, how to save your stuff. That's basically what we were preaching on the radio today, was save your stuff, save your tires, save your brakes. And, we were there at the end. I got the wall, about the last 10 laps and kind of took the handling away from it. But we were able to get a good top 5 and just, proud of my guys and, just had a lot of fun.
Mike Lennox comes home 5th today, guys. Wendy?
Chad McCumbee, who comes home 6th, grew up watching races in the stands here at Rockingham Speedway. How neat is it to see what Andy Hillenberg has done here, and now you've had a chance to race?
Well, it's even cooler to get to drive for Andy Hillenberg. He's meant a lot to my career so far, and I can't thank him enough. We had a great time today. This was extremely special for me, being a North Carolina native, getting to race at North Carolina Speedway. So I got to thank Danco Electric coming on board with us, all my local supporters, including the GPSstore.com. It's been a really cool ride so far, and I can't thank all the guys at Fast Track Racing enough. All the guys on my MRD team, truck crew there, they helped out a ton putting this thing together. So a lot of work went into it. We weren't quite as good as we wanted to be, but I'll take a 6.
All right, real quick, can I see you at a Cup race soon?
We're working on it, probably so.
All right, good news for Chad McCumbee.
There you have it. One of the rising stars in the stock car world, Chad McCumbee. Obviously another star that is definitely on the rise is our race winner, Joey Logano, today. Let's look back as to what took place here toward the end of this race with Joey Logano able to use those fresher tires after the restart with just 4 laps of racing. He was able to go right by Ken Schrader.
Yeah, really, Kenny could not offer any resistance whatsoever. You see Joey going to take the checker flag and win #1 for his career. We talked to him yesterday, and he said they talked about maybe him running the ARCA race at Talladega later this year, so we may see him back in the ARCA Re Mex Series before the 2008 season is over.
He sure put on a clinic here today, and an impressive performance earned him a trip to victory lane. Let's take a look at our point standings through 5 races unofficially. Matt Carter holding on to the points lead. Frank Kimmel and Tom Hessert III has moved up into the top 3.
Yeah, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. tied with Tom Hessert for the 3rd position. John West Tonley up to the top 5. Justin Allgaier falls back to 6th with his transmission problems today.
Scott Speed also with issues dropped back into the 8th spot in the point standings from the Rock. A difficult place to come out and, I guess, take on the Rock. Smoke through the green flag to start off this race. The longest race of the season for the ARCA Re Mex Series, 312 miles from the Rock. And it was Joey Logano who dominated almost all 312 miles of this race.